Welcome into the Pride of Detroit POD cast. That is Pride of Detroit just about everywhere over on social media. Your favorite social media sites, your least favorite social media sites, you can find us just about everywhere. But you can easily find us over at twitch.tv/Pride of Detroit or youtube.com/Pride of Detroit if you actually want to watch this podcast and not just listen to it. If you actually want to look at our beautiful faces, some of us are more attractive than others, but it's still well worth the watch. I'm not going to say who's more attractive than who, but I'll let you guys be the judge of that. I am your host, Miko. You can find me at the Miko Scott over on Twitter, joined by my two really good, great co-hosts. First and foremost, we have your senior editor over at Pride of Detroit. You have Ryan Matthews at Ryan_POD. Ryan, how are you, my guy? How was your weekend?
Miko, I'm well after the weekend. I'm in air conditioned climate, so everything is good with me. How are you doing, man? Low on
I'm
sleep?
I'm a little low on sleep. I wish I looked and felt as good as you look right now with the polo with the button, like the buttons all the way up to the top. You looking good, my guy.
Oh, thank you, Miko. You're so flattering.
I'm trying, right? I'm trying to win as many brownie points as I can so that when things start to like kind of like go off the rails, I can always recall back to these moments of like, hey, remember when I complimented you on that amazing polo? We can always call back to that.
Remember when we saw eye to eye on Ranch and the other guy likes blue
Ah,
cheese?
that's
Here,
that,
here
yeah.
comes the coalition already.
Well, speaking of the coalition going up against, the man in charge, we have your very other special co-host, Jeremy Reisman at Detroit Online over there on Twitter. Jeremy, how was your weekend, my guy?
It's good, honestly. Interrupted by work, but in the best way possible because it means I got to witness some Detroit Lions football ish. So pretty
I
happy
was
there.
I was gonna say, I think we can call it football. Like we can actually like what is happening now. We are fully entrenched into training camp. Only 2 days, but we're into training camp season now, and I think everything that's happening is it can actually be quantified as actual football, right, Ryan?
Absolutely. I mean, we're in it. We're in it. I mean, we're what, like a week and a half away from football? Padded football against another football team?
So I put your feet to the fire right now. The Hall of Fame game is football. You are declaring this definitively right now.
You can gamble on it, right?
Oh God.
So it
Now
counts.
we can call it football. The quality of said football it can be in question, but it is absolutely football.
Fair enough.
But with that said, guys, like I said, we are fully entrenched into training camp, which means we have 2 days worth of practice to talk about, as well as some other news that has come out of Allen Park. Because, hey, the coaching staff is there. Dan Campbell's talking to the media. Players are talking to the media. There's a number of different things to talk about. And so we have definitely got to catch up on the last 2 days. Unfortunately, we're going to have to start this show on a less than ideal note, talking about injuries. It's, everyone's least favorite subject when it comes down to talking about their favorite football team. But the Lions have had a rash of injury news to kind of come out leading into training camp. And so I think none of it is any bigger than the news that came out about Levi Onwuzurike being out for the season with an ACL injury. Jeremy, how about you kind of lead us into this and just give us a little bit more background on what we know as of right now when it comes to Levi?
Yeah, definitely an unfortunate situation when we saw earlier in the week, last week, that he was put on the pup reserve. It was never a good sign if they were already declaring that he was going to miss at least 4 games, but I think there was at least a little optimism like, okay, well, we'll see him in the back half of the season or whatever. But lo and behold, Dan Campbell in his opening press conference of training camp kind of lets loose that he's out for the year due to an ACL injury. The good news is it's not his back. The good news is it's something that they needed to take care of and it'll be okay. The bad news is obviously he's out for the season. The bad news is obviously they found out about this injury after they signed him to a 1 year, $4 million contract. It sounds like it was something that was lingering a little bit from the season, and it just kind of kept getting a little bit worse, a little bit worse, a little bit worse through the spring program, and they ultimately decided it was best for him, in his best interest, to continue his football career, whatever he wants to do if he's done with football, which who knows, to get it done and just get it out of the way. And yeah, he's out for the season. Dan Campbell did not leave any wiggle room like he did sometimes with some of the guys last year during the offseason. Well, I was like, well, maybe John Kaminsky can come back. Now, he's out for the year, and that's a pretty big bummer considering, I was one of the guys that trumpeted that as one of the biggest offseason signings, in terms of value, in terms of importance to the team. You lose that. You lose all of that, and it leaves, I would say, a fair amount of questions with the Lions' defensive line depth.
Yeah, I think with that news, the people who were clamoring for the Detroit Lions to do something more than just bring the band back together, so to speak, I think that they have a point now. I know, hindsight's 2020. However, I wonder how much different the Detroit Lions offseason, Miko, would have looked had they had known that Levi was going to be out for a year with an ACL injury before they signed him to a contract. Like, do they look outward? Do they maybe treat the draft a little bit differently? I don't know.
That is a question that I think a lot of fans are going to have. And I think that is one of the other detractors and one of the other downsides of this news is that you get all of those conversations being brought back up of, oh, well, should the Lions should have drafted this person, or the Lions should have, prioritized this signing. And the reality of the situation is whatever information they had at the time in regards to Levi, they clearly didn't expect this outcome, right? And I think that does kind of push things to the next point, Jeremy, which is okay, well, this is the reality. Levi's not going to be part of your rotation, whether it was going to be as a starter or as just like a heavy rotation guy. So how does this impact the rest of the roster, kind of going forward in terms of how you do build out the rest of this roster as you get ready for the regular season?
Well, the nice answer is that you did just happen to draft a guy who can kind of fill some of that role in the very first round, right? I mean, you look at how practice has played out through 2 days, and Tyreek Williams has basically become a starter kind of in that Aleem McNeil, but also kind of Levi Onwuzurike role. And I think the answer is you just lean a lot more on that guy than maybe you planned to begin with. And listen, he has a lot of time in the 3-tech, right? I think the original plan was let's put him on the Aleem McNeil route, which was, we'll ease him into some nose tackle stuff. We'll play him a little bit at the 3-tech, but like he has a chance to really grow in the 3-tech down the line. The difference, though, being one, Levi's a much better prospect. Wow, Tyreek is a much better prospect, right? First round pick. He's played a lot more 3-tech than Aleem did in college. And so is it ideal to be leaning on a first round rookie? Not necessarily, but they drafted him for a reason. They expected him to be a first round talent, and they were happy to get him where they did. So I think that's the primary answer is expect to see Tyreek early and often in his NFL career.
Which isn't a thing to look back at the offseason and say, like, man, the Lions totally missed the boat on that. My concern, though, Jeremy and Miko, is that the depth at edge takes a big hit because he had the ability, he had maybe arguably the most positional versatility that anybody on that defensive line has. Like he could even moonlight as like a nose tackle if you wanted to in pass rushing situations. He can play 3-tech, he can play outside. Now I'm a little bit uneasy, especially with some of the other injury news about what the future of edge holds opposite of Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair question. I'm with you, Ryan, in regards to like I have a few more questions on like what the Lions are going to do with that whole specifically where Levi would kick out and play more of that big edge role. But Jeremy, I do know like in looking at your observations from day one, Pat O'Connor was one of the guys that you did see kind of at least moonlighting in that 4-eye situation.
Yep.
I know Mekhi Wingo was someone that the Lions really liked last year. They liked his ability to move around, not the same size and not necessarily the same type of imposing body that Levi is, but somebody that can actually, possibly serve in that role once he himself is healthy.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, Josh Pascal, also part of that conversation too, right? A guy that can play on the inside a little bit, can play on the outside a little bit. Also currently injured, but it certainly seems like the expectation is for him to be ready very close to the season. I'm thinking Mekhi might be back before then. We started seeing him working with a trainer today, Monday. So there's a little bit of optimism there. But yeah, with no Levi, with no Mekhi, with no Josh Pascal, it looks maybe a little bit worse than it is. No Aleem, obviously, as well. You hope that eventually all those guys come back, and then it does look okay. But what does Josh Pascal look like for the first couple weeks after missing probably all or most of training camp? What does Aleem McNeil look like coming off an ACL? How much is Mekhi going to jump year 1 to year 2 without having a full off season? To project those things and think, okay, they're going to be fine with all those things, that requires a pretty big leap of faith. But they have depth that was here last year that helped last year. They do have a guy like Pat O'Connor who was helpful down the stretch. Was he the best? No, but that defense held its water for a pretty darn long time. And I suspect, Roy Lopez, assuming his injury today wasn't significant, he can help out. And so they have bodies there. They have people with experience there, but certainly what I considered maybe a strength of the roster at defensive tackle looks significantly less so today.
Yeah, I think that's a fair observation, Ryan. And I think, another name that probably starts to come to mind if you're talking about someone like Roy Lopez also going down, like does the Broderick Martin hype train start to kind of get some fuel to it to like maybe Broderick can actually have a lane to make his, make himself known on this roster as well.
He certainly has more of an opportunity than he did 48 hours ago, but he's a guy who I kind of see as a pure nose anyway. So like he has an uphill climb to just even get playing time. Should Roy Lopez be healthy, it's like him and DJ Reader, and I'd rather have Tyleek Williams out there playing nose tackle than Broderick Martin. So his role seems more pigeonholed, and that's the concern I have. Like I said with Levi, is that he was just so versatile. He could play in so many different spots where it's like he almost could be like the next man up at any position along that defensive line. And it's like, well, you lose that guy, and now you start looking at the rest of the depth chart, and you hope that some of those guys just have the opportunity to get snaps. Like Josh Pascal was playing all the way into the final quarter of that preseason game against Kansas City, where it's like, oh, Josh Pascal's playing in the fourth quarter of a preseason game. Again, a guy who's really struggled with injuries his entire career at the NFL level. So I don't know. It's just like I want to see these guys out on the field. Lo and behold, though, Marcus Davenport seemed to have had a pretty good day too, according to Eric Schlitt over on the website. Miko's always talking about the written content over there, so go check that out. But I mean, some of these other injuries are just like I guess this is my big like, and we're not gonna have like a rage corner or a rant or anything, but like the concerns about like injuries just hitting every Lions fan right in the face. Day one of training camp, you find out even before the training camp happens, it's Dan Campbell saying, "Yeah, one of the most important guys from the defensive line, he's out for the year." It's like,
Right.
can Lions fans catch a break? I get it. So I get being upset. I also like I see the other side of it from Jeremy's perspective, right? Like the Lions have depth. There's a ton of training camp to still take place. Zadarius Smith might be sipping Mai Tai somewhere and be on his way back to DTW at any minute. But like in the here and now, I understand the frustration and like, can we even get one day?
Right. I feel like, though, this is something we go through every year where it's just like injuries happen, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times they're not that serious. And listen, I'll admit, I bought into it a little bit when Ennis went down on day one, and I'm like, Jesus, that doesn't look good. Like, Ennis, the guy that, Miko, I think he was your guy, like, I'm really excited to see Ennis. And the first day he goes down in, like, a non-padded practice, not in a tackling drill, not like it just a collision, and you're just like, Jesus, this team is cursed. But then like you roll things back. The Lions are the first one in camp, right? Like them and the Chargers. No other team is going through this because no one else is practicing. You're seeing teams add to their own PUP list and their own NFI list, but you're not paying that much attention because it's all Lions right now, baby. And so it's a little bit of narrow focused. Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, let's recap what the defensive line is going through right now. Levi's out for the year. Al-Qadim Muhammad's not practicing. Roy Lopez got injured today. Makai Wingo's not practicing. Like, it's not a great situation. I feel like I'm forgetting one or two as well. Pascal, right? Like, Pascal's missing a couple times. So, but, like, let's not forget, they drafted Ahmed Hassanin. And yes, right now he is the backup Aiden Hutchinson, and that's like, okay, that's a little much to be rushing in a guy who's on a steep developmental curve. But you have guys like Mitchell Hugude. You have guys like Nate Lynn who've shown promise in their young careers. You have Ukwu, another guy who people were really excited about last year. Now, am I expecting these guys to be full-blown starters? No, but they're guys that have been in the system for a year. There's guys that are still here for a reason, and you could say the same about Chris Smith. You can say the same thing about Pat O'Connor. These are guys that are around for a reason, and we've seen the Lions survive this before. And, cross your fingers, a lot of these guys that are missing 1-2 weeks of training camp are going to be back after 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a important thing to keep in mind, like that last part, that like some of the guys that we're talking about that are missing are like can come off the pup list at any given moment, right? And some guys may start practicing sooner than others. I don't I don't know if it's necessarily super easy to just be like, oh, I'm not going to pay attention to these injuries. Like Jeremy, I think it's like you said. I think it is this feeling that Lions fans still kind of hold on to. That like if bad things starts to happen, it's always that feeling of like, oh, a curse is creeping back up. When in actuality, there is a reality to the fact that like this is just football. This is just the nature of football, and sometimes freaky things happen, and you're just hoping that it's nothing serious, Ryan. But right now, like yeah, there seems to be a lot going on along the defensive line that I think kind of speaks back to what you were talking about earlier, where it's like you kind of start to look a little bit at the front office, like, hey, how are we going to? Are there any plans of probably bringing in any kind of help, whether that's Darius Smith, whether that's just additional competition? But I also think that's like a benefit of the offseason, right? Like training camp is just getting started. You have plenty of time to swap out and bring in fresh bodies in the event that you do need to create more competition at a position.
Yeah, and I'm probably going to end up saying it at least 4, 5, 6, 7 times. That isn't it great though that the Lions get that extra preseason game? Like if you want to assess depth and you want to get guys live bullets, it's awesome that you have that extra Hall of Fame game and 4 preseason games to get those guys as many opportunities to get comfortable at the positions that they're playing. Because I think that the Levi injury, it just opens up so many more opportunities for other guys. And maybe Lions coaches are looking at certain players and saying, okay, well, again, this is practice, this is preseason, this is when we're trying to figure stuff out, and we're going to throw some stuff at the wall. Maybe we're going to play some guys in some different spots. It happens every training camp. Remember Matthew Betts last year? It's like, let's see if Matthew Betts can play Sam linebacker.
Nope.
Matthew Betts couldn't play Sam linebacker, but they tried, right? And that's what training camp is for. It's just Lions fans don't want training camp to be about injuries,
Right.
which I get the frustration, but at this point, it really is next man up. Like that's what training camp is all about. Is all about next man up. You don't want to see your starters playing. You don't want to see anybody like remember the CJ Gardner Johnson scare that we had his first
Yeah.
season? Remember Eric Ebron at Ford Field? Everybody thought he tore his Achilles. Like I guess it could be way worse, right? Like those guys were supposed to be like big featured players, starters,
Right.
you know. Um, and again, like you said, the spotlight is on the Lions right now because they're one of 2 teams that are actually at training camp. So
Yeah. But I like you pointing out those 2 instances so that like the next time we have to report, hey, Sione Vaki left practice, you don't immediately jump to, well, that's it. Crap, he's out for the season. Like, relax.
yeah,
Even
yeah,
if it looks bad like it did with Ennis, turns out you can still get some relatively good news.
Yeah, and I did want to at least ask this question. So obviously, look, we all kind of feel the same way that Levi's the big one, right? Like that's the big injury that's clearly taking something away from this team. Are there any of the are there any of the other injuries that have been reported that you're like a little skittish on, that you're a little like that could be more problematic? You know, we've talked about Josh Pascal being one of the other defensive linemen that's out. Don't really know what he's dealing with that hasn't been kind of like spoken about. Taylor Decker's dealing with a shoulder. Alex Anzalone's dealing with a hamstring. You mentioned Ennis having his injury scare, you know, the previous day. Miles Frazier, another young guy that could have been vying for, you know, some offensive line depth. Anything else that probably like kind of pops up on either of your guys' radar that like, hey, this is a little concerning as well?
Nothing really in particular. I think it's just not funny is definitely the wrong word, but like kind of astounding how shorthanded they are at corner right now as well, because that's another position where I think you looked at early on and you're like, that's a pretty deep position, and then suddenly it's like, oh, Khalil Dorsey is on the pup. Oh, Stanley Thomas Oliver is on NFI. Oh, now Ennis Rakestraw is hurt. Now DJ Reed is suddenly not at practice. What's happening there? And to be clear with DJ Reed, we don't even know if that's an injury situation. It very well could be a personal day given some of the things going on with his family. So it's just like day 2, it's like, oh, it's Terrion Arnold and Rock Ya-Sin. Those are your starting corners. You're like, day 2, that's where we're at already? But again, like I don't think anything else is really that big of a deal. And I would say we even got a little bit of positive news on Monday because lo and behold, Malcolm Rodriguez was running out there. Like not like sprinting, but running. And the last time we heard from Dan Campbell, he was like, conservatively, he'll be ready by November. And I don't want to jump to conclusions, and this is something that I want to talk to Dan about specifically, but that to me screams ahead of schedule. And if he's ahead of schedule, then suddenly that linebacking crew looks a lot better, because you mentioned how this is the opportunity, the time for opportunities, especially for guys that are positions where there are a lot of injuries. Zach Cunningham has been kind of a standout on day 2 as a guy who's like, all right, we're going to put the guy who has a ton of experience in a starting position while Alex Anzalone is out. Suddenly I'm like, oh, that guy can play a little bit of defense. You throw, Grant Stewart into that mix. You throw maybe Malcolm Rodriguez in October instead of November. Like, suddenly you're 6 or 7 deep at linebacker again. And we know what this team looks like when the linebacking room is decimated. Right now, it actually looks a little bit stronger to me than I expected, despite the fact that they've been missing 2 out of the top 4.
Yeah, and I think that in and of itself provides an interesting opportunity. I keep on using that word, but for Kelvin Shepherd, right? Like if your defensive line is shorthanded, well, what can you do on the back end with your linebackers and your defensive backs to get pressure, to scheme things up? I mean, that was one of the things that I thought that Aaron Glenn was masterful at, right? Like just being a tactician, X's and O's, knowing like when to dial up the pressure and when to kind of hold it back. That was something that I think drew a lot of ire from fans, but I honestly thought that he was pretty damn good at calling a football game. So that's something that, on a rookie defensive coordinator, great, like through these 4 training camp, or through these 4 preseason games and training camp and getting the joint practices, that's where you want that defensive coordinator to really kind of play with those things, Miko. And that's something that I think I'll be pretty, and obviously they're not going to do anything that's going to like put too much tape out there, right? But you want to at least see him like try some different things where you would feel encouraged about that guy's ability to call a football game.
Yeah, it's a real, with a situation like this, it does feel like a very true, like, feet to the fire type of situation for Kelvin Shepherd to show that you can be that defensive minded coach that can, problem solve and find different ways of creating pressure and utilizing the pieces that you have available to you. Instead of just, lamenting the fact that you lost a guy here or there, or a guy here or there isn't going to be available for a few weeks. You have got to problem solve that. And one of the key problems that the Lions had last year was being able to generate pressure. I like something that Dan said. Specifically, he was talking about the offensive line, but I think it still could apply, Jeremy, to the defensive line or defense in general as well, where he talked about like, hey, they have like about 10 days or so to figure out like, hey, if this new like shuffling of offensive line is going to work. Who says that that same logic doesn't apply to the defensive line or to your defense in general? We're like, hey, we're just not seeing the push. We're not seeing the penetration that we want to see. We gotta start churning some guys out. We gotta start trying some guys in some different roles. We gotta start bringing in some new bodies, whatever the case may be. It's not something that I think Lions fans want to hear, but I think it at least shines a light on the fact that the Lions aren't going into these situations blind. They're not ignorant to the fact that like, hey, we have questions on our offensive line. We have questions on our defensive line. They are actively problem solving these things.
Yeah. And then the next step beyond that is like, okay, once you find the guys that you trust, let's build some chemistry in between them. Let's spend the rest of the offseason, the rest of preseason, the rest of training camp, making sure those guys know what to expect from the guy next to them. And yeah, that's going to be the key on both sides of the ball. But what I think has been kind of strange has been how consistent through day 1 and day 2 the offensive and defensive line have been as starters. It's been the exact same both days, and we'll talk about the offensive line on the other side, but defensively it's very interesting to me that there hasn't been that much playing around with what it looks like. It is Aiden Hutchinson on one side and Marcus Davenport on the other side. It is DJ Reed at the nose tackle and Tyleik Williams at the 3 or 4 eye. And then when you go to 5 set, you throw Derek Barnes in the end and kind of shift everyone over. And so it's been very steady, and it seems like that's where things are headed. But of course, if you get Josh Paschal back, what does that look like? If you eventually get Aleem McNeil, what does that rotation turn into? If one of the guys in the depths, Hassanin, Lynn, whatever, what does it look like if those guys take another step, show up in the preseason? But to me, it actually looks like, surprisingly, the first stringers on the offensive and defensive lines, maybe, I don't want to say set because that's ridiculous to say on day 2 of training camp, but like they have a pretty good idea of what they want it to be, I would say.
I want to see DJ Reed at nose tackle.
Did I say that?
I mean, that how many times is that going to happen to everybody this year?
A million.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of things that are going to happen a lot, you know what's also going to happen a lot? You can get a lot of protein from Righteous Felon beef jerky. And all you got to do is head over to righteousfelon.com to do that. The Pride of Detroit podcast is brought to you by Righteous Felon Beef Jerky. It's the jerky that fuels the Pride of Detroit POD cast. Each 2 ounce bag of jerky has 16 to 20 grams of protein, and each stick has 8 grams. Trust me, if it's good enough for the Lions, it's going to be good enough for you too. Righteous Felon is based in Westchester, Pennsylvania. They are locally sourced, all natural black Angus beef and prides itself on superior quality, revolutionary branding, and unique flavors that go beyond the stereotypical jerky offering. I have been eyeing that turkey jerky from Righteous Felon, and I'm just waiting till payday because I need to stock up. I hate when I go through a day and like I'm trying to figure out how can I get more of my protein in for the day, and I just don't have the things available to me. I plan on going over to righteousfelon.com, using the promo code POD20 at checkout and getting 20% off my order. Jeremy, this is a deal that a lot of people got to take advantage of, right?
Yeah, it's a limited time. That POD 15 is available year round, but that extra 5% goes a long way. And maybe you just bulk up for the entire year. Do a big order now, get your 20% off now. I'm going to do it because you know what? These days start early at training camp. It's 8 a.m. days. I kind of blow right through lunch. I'm trying to bring in lunch and be like a responsible person, but like even then, there's like I need a snack, and they have all these like unhealthy snacks laid out for the media, and I want to, thank you, appreciate the gesture, but I'm trying to get in my summer, summer weight. There's still time to have a beach body, all right, even if I'm working now. And I got to load up on that low calorie, high protein beef jerky.
And here's an opportunity to be frugal about it. POD 20, right? Grab yourself some Nelson Mandela, cracked pepper and dill. It's going to be on my next order.
That sounds appetizing. Absolutely. So again, that promo code is POD20 at righteousfelon.com. When we come back, we are going to be talking about the offensive line and the different things that they are doing to try and solidify what that will be for this upcoming season. We'll also talk a little bit more about the defensive line and a couple of other standouts from the first 2 days of training camp. So definitely stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hey, they got beaches in Michigan, all right, JC? I might take an extended weekend in preseason, just drive out to the West Coast.
It's like a big trend, I feel like, on social media right now is everybody crapping on Chicago summers. Everybody in Chicago talking about the beaches they have, and it's like beaches in Chicago. Stop it.
All right, let me get to some alerts. I should also change it so that the alerts aren't popping up in my little box here. Let me do that real quick. So I'm going to go full cam just for a second. Turn off the alert box on that. There we go.
Raising Cane's doesn't have seasoning, J-Pook. It's a myth. It's a legend. It's like Bigfoot.
Wait, who said they just went to... There was someone in the chat who said they went yesterday, which just so happens to be the day that I also tried Raising Cane's for the first time since the Senior Bowl. And Miko was 100% right. Like, that's the breading had absolutely no taste to it. Like, zero. The fries had almost zero seasoning or salt on them. You had to use the dip.
The sauce is doing all the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
And it's good sauce, but it's just like, I shouldn't have to, you can't have a menu that limited that is legitimately just powered by sauce. Like, that's wild.
I was stunned because it's not how I remember it. Maybe they do it different in Alabama.
I don't know. I feel like if they do season their food, like if someone from Raising Cane's is like, no, we season our chicken, like then somebody's rinsing the chicken off before you guys, like, because it's not transferring.
I do. There's a First Watch in Ann Arbor. I gotta go.
Took us no time in the break. Took us no time in the break.
I mean, it helps that like our transition literally from first segment to second segment is talking about
food. Yeah, it's true. Trying to sell people food. I get it.
Yeah. All right, let me get to some alerts here. I want to thank three people from yesterday, because I did a little test stream while I was working through all my PC issues, and 3 people subscribed while I was streaming, and I didn't read their alerts because I couldn't even see them. Dan Pask, thank you for the 49 months. As I didn't break it, I promise. Cheers for trying. I'm headed out, but saw the alert. Have a great show. Go Lions. Thomas J. Hutchins, 29 months, says Gio Manu hype train activated. We'll talk a little bit of Gio next segment. It's really hard to talk about offensive and defensive line play without the pads on, but we'll do a little bit of it. RGA, 32 months, says Go Loins. Moving to today's alerts, David Lunch, 30 months, says I hear it's Hooker Day in Allen Park. Had himself a little bit of a day today. I think it's getting pushed a little bit much just because, like, I feel like it's almost everybody's headline today. And it wasn't like outstanding, but it was a very solid day. Maybe his best day in camp, but it wasn't just like dime after dime after dime after dime. It was just like, oh, this is what it looks like when Hendon Hooker has command of the offense a little bit.
I feel like it's just like a massive pendulum swing from like the previous day when people are like, oh, he's repping with the third team. Like, what does this mean? And it's like,
if you're a Pride of Detroit Direct subscriber, you would have known that we were fairly certain Hooker was going to come out today as QB2 because that's how they do it. That's how they've treated the QB2 job. I'm getting ahead of ourselves. We're going to talk about this on the podcast. Let me move forward. Mr. Broker, 39 months, subscribed to the channel. Lord Goofa, 38 months, says twitch.tv/Pride of Detroit. I love you so much. I love you too, Goof. Thanks for hanging out, buddy. Whenever I see those all caps yellows in any Twitch chat, I just assume it's you. So thanks for being around. Dr. Dunlap, 34 months, subscribed on Twitch as well. 80 Jerome, 8 months, subscribed to the channel using that Twitch Prime. Drew Falcon, 30 months, says, dang it, Jeremy, your snafu yesterday destroyed my watch streak. Time for a new streak. Ah, see, I don't even see the streaks on my, like, event list. But I'm sorry. It was necessary to make sure things would run smoothly today. And so far, so good. I know there's been, like, my audio was a little bit low. But if you guys notice anything that just seems a little bit off, let me know. Because I had to basically reset up the entire stream all over again. Mostly. The Pintar, 24 months, that's 2 years, says, I'm rushing to the PODcast with the intense, non-stop motor of Hassanin. Fair. That's the intensity that we need.
It's like bordering on car talk.
Is it? Motor. Phenom Wow. 19 months says, finally, training camp time. Preseason and the season are right around the corner. POD team, thanks for everything you are all doing to keep us addicted to our favorite team. Of course.
You're welcome.
We only do it because we're addicted too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have problems.
Like, it feels like it's benevolent, but it's actually very self-serving. Us jumping on here, us doing all the podcasts, all the written stuff, that's self-serving more than anything else.
I mean, self-serving, but also giving back to the community by way of discounts on beef jerky. I mean, we are, at the end of the day, good people.
Yes, that's right.
No matter how much Jeremy tries to poison people with blue cheese and trying to make them believe that that's the go-to way. Like, yeah.
Blue cheese on a fantastic salad today. It was excellent. I actually mixed it in with my eggs the other day. Don't recommend. I don't remember. I don't recommend that. I've done it with goat cheese, and it's delicious with goat cheese. Makes it very creamy. Excellent. Okay. You can skip doing blue cheese on eggs, though.
I wasn't gonna try, but thanks.
You're welcome. I'm here to try things so you don't have to.
So to bring it back to football really quick. Mm-hmm. So one thing that I've found interesting, and maybe I just haven't seen it, and maybe they have worded this way. They're still just calling Levi's injury an ACL injury. They haven't like flat out say he tore it.
That is how I have been handling it. I can't imagine it's anything else.
Right. I just found that interesting that like they haven't been like, yeah, he tore his ACL. Because then I feel like if you say that he tore it, then it's like, well, then when did he tear it? And how did you not know that he tore his ACL?
Right. And I think maybe the answer to that is partially torn, but I am also not a doctor. And so when he says ACL injury, I say just refer to it as an ACL injury. And don't jump to any conclusions, right? Like I've been careful when editing some people on staff who may have written it as ACL tear. Be like, let's just call it an ACL injury just to be safe. And to be like, the only thing we have to go on is Dan Campbell, and one sentence about it. So maybe he meant torn ACL, but I don't know.
I was gonna say because even the way he like describes like how they found out about the injury, I guess does kind of lend itself more to like a partially torn of
Right.
like, well, we thought he just postseason nicks and
Soreness.
bruises
Yeah.
type of situation. Wasn't getting better months later. Had him go get and probably had him go get it checked out, and they were like, yeah, this is kind of
Right. Yeah,
Well,
and
like I was
Rappaport
gonna, yeah,
Rappaport did tweet, I think, ACL tear, but in my opinion, based on that, he was going off of what Dan Campbell said. He wasn't reporting it himself. That happened after Dan Campbell said it. And so I think he made the jump to conclusion, which, listen, if there are doctors in our chat that know better and say, yeah, any sort of ACL injury that requires a surgery like that is a torn ACL. You guys are nitpicking for no reason. Fine. Yes, maybe. But that's what I think happened with Rappaport. I don't think he is reporting that he tore his ACL. I think he is reporting that Dan Campbell said he tore his ACL, which is not true.
yeah. The other thing I was gonna say is it sounded like Dan's ultimate like why this had to be done, like because it had to be done. You know what I
Right.
mean? It was
Right.
like,
mhm.
which again, I feel like lends itself to it not being torn all the way. If it's like, well, if you keep playing on it, then you'll probably end up tearing it all the way. And again, this is all conjecture and I'm just like spitballing, but like the way that he said, like, yeah, he just had to get this done. It's
Right.
like, okay, well, then, like, if you had to get it done, then we probably know what it is or what could have happened or what was going to happen. So, like, you just got to take care of it now.
Yeah. To the people asking NFI versus pup and that sort of thing, in order to be pup, it has to happen on an NFL facility. So during a game, during spring practices, if you're just training at the Lions facility, that is still considered a football injury. If it happens while you're training away from the facility, that's when it counts against NFI. That's when it's considered a non-football injury, even if you were like doing a football workout in Miami. Still counts as NFI.
Where can you get on DraftKings at the team facility? Nowhere still, right?
I don't know. I haven't
Okay.
gone through the sports betting rookie symposium. So you can't cut a player due to an injury. The Lions cannot save any money in this case with Levi. Basically, if you were going to cut someone from injury, you have to waive with an injury designation. They revert back to your IR after that. And if you're on IR, you get paid the full season unless you come to an injury settlement. But the thing with an injury settlement is you pay that player based on how many games you think he's going to miss. So you take their salary, you prorate it, say, hey, you're going to miss 9 out of 17 games. We'll pay you 9/17. Levi, an injury settlement would be 17 out of
17 games. Yeah.
Yes. So you'd be doing nothing. You wouldn't be saving any money, and you'd be cutting him, making him available to sign somewhere else, which there's no reason to do that since he's just going to hit free agency anyways at the end of this NFL season. So there essentially is no way to save money. That money is gone essentially, which sucks. It's frustrating, but that's the price of business in the NFL, unfortunately.
Not according to some other owners. Wow.
You
Chalk,
want to jump into some NFLPA talk, baby? We could fill out another 3 hours of this podcast. Do our
well,
best Pablo impression.
well, yeah, we could, but the other thing is like, I mean, is Levi's injury like is that score one for Bengals owner Mike Brown and Cowboys owner Jerry Jones as they talk about why they can't come to contract agreements with their high profile players? I don't know if you saw this, Jeremy, but Mike Brown said that, Shamar Stewart could end up in jail. He could end up.
What?
I'll read you the quote. Okay. He says, I hesitate to get into the details, but basically it turns out, or it basically turns on whether, blah, blah, blah. Let me start over. I'm Mike Brown. I'm talking about Shamar Stewart sitting out. I hesitate to get into the details, but basically it turns on whether out years are guaranteed if he gets involved in conduct detrimental to football. Detrimental to football in recent years has been violence to women. That's the one that comes to mind. If we get a player who gets involved in something like that or does something that is just unacceptable, guess what? I don't want to pay him. I really don't. If he's sitting in jail, I don't think I ought to be paying him. Jerry Jones today said contracts are 4 or 5 years, okay? There's a lot of water under the bridge. If you step out there and do something in the first 2 or 3, you can get hit by a car. Seriously.
So,
So
one team owner is subtly hinting that their first round pick might be a woman abuser.
Or that he could. And
Great.
I don't want to be paying him if he's in jail. And Jerry Jones is like making decisions on whether or not an act of God is going to happen. That's why we haven't come to a contract agreement with Micah Parsons because,
Jesus.
I mean, have you seen the weather lately?
That guy, why does he decide to open his mouth as much as he does?
I mean, he owns a football team, so nobody can literally like pull the microphone away from him.
It's wild.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine if you're Shamar Stewart where you're like, yeah, I want to sign any contract that they give me. Like, dude just accused me of domestic violence.
I mean, yeah, I mean,
Premeditated domestic violence is what he accused me of.
yeah.
He's a precog, by the way.
Minority Report?
It is. There's a Shamar Stewart red ball just rolled down the hill. He's like, well, we can't pay him now.
It's unreal.
Which is, I think the thing that's wild about that, like, you drafted him though. Like, so when did this thought process come in that you were like, nah, but we think this might be a concern, but we're gonna draft him anyways.
He's using that as like a hypothetical situation,
Right.
which is a crazy thing to bring up.
Yes.
I think when you're
It's a
talking
crazy
about
thing
that.
to say. I just think it's a crazy thing to say in public because like that's
100%.
immediately where my brain goes. Like it's like, but you drafted that guy.
Well, yeah. So they're looking to void future guarantees. And it's like, why not just say that? Why do you have to
Yeah.
like drum up like a hypothetical scenario or talk about like, this has been the flavor of the week lately? Beating up women. Don't want to pay him if you're sitting in jail. Like, okay. Thanks, Mike Brown. Appreciate that insight.
It's very
You-
very
you-
weird.
Your organization is always well known for treating their players with respect and paying them what they're worth.
Just another rare moment where we can just sit back and be like, thanks, Sheila.
Yeah, thank you, Sheila.
Thanks, Sheila.
Mm-hmm.
She's smart.
It's one of those moments where you're like, as bad as things might be over here, you're like, well, at least we don't have owners like out front just not thinking before they speak, or
Right.
thinking before they speak and still being like, no, I can say this.
Like, when's the last time anyone within the Lions organization put their foot in their mouth? In any sort of way. Like, maybe Rod Wood, like
Rod
with
Wood,
some
Calvin
like,
Johnson.
and
Yeah.
maybe some like tone deaf things about like ticket prices every now and then, maybe. But that's relatively minor, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean that's not anything that's going on like this.
right. That is not something that is making national headlines. Wild. Let me get to a couple more alerts, and then we can talk about whatever else is on your guys' mind. Karen Linwu, thank you for the 35 months. Says watching cute quarterback has me so pumped for football season. Also, Miko's doing a great job.
Thank you, Karen. I appreciate it.
Le Mans Builder, 28 months subscribed on Twitch, and Mighty 2 Hottie, 45 months subscribed. Says Ryan in the nice button up is quote a little off. I don't know what that means. Ryan in the nice button off is a little off.
I mean, this is what I'm wearing on a casual Thursday at school. So,
Are you? You're not back at school, are you?
no, but we go back earlier than everybody. I can't talk about it right now. I'm too angry about everything that's going on right now. So,
Fair.
J Rago 73 in chat though. I like that. Shouldn't they pay Stewart more in case he wins a Nobel Peace Prize?
That's right. Yeah.
Just
That's a
swing
good
the
point.
pendulum the other way.
Right. I mean, he could end up curing cancer. Yeah, like
Right.
J Pook just said.
What if he becomes, the first guy to play defense and quarterback? First guy, I guess, probably since like the 40s when everyone was doing it.
I mean, he could be anybody. Become anything.
It's true. Zero Slub, thank you for the 20 months subscribed on Twitch as well. And we are caught up. LJ, I have a question. Dan Campbell said yesterday Ann Arbor. Alex Anzalone looked good doing a test, and just today he's dealing with a hamstring injury. When did that happen? So there was a little bit of an intimation on Sunday that it was an injury situation with Alex Anzalone too. He was just like, he was cagey about the Alex Anzalone situation for whatever reason yesterday, and then today he made it a little bit more clear he's dealing with a hamstring injury. I think maybe just because like he's getting a little grilled about Anzalone and be like, hey, so this isn't a sit-in situation, right? And he's like, no, I don't think so. I don't think Alex Anzalone would do that. Like, it feels like he could have just been like, no, it's a hamstring injury. It's normal. But for whatever reason, he got, I don't know if defensive is the right word. It was just like, it was a strange interaction. And so I left that being like, what is actually going on with Alex Anzalone? Now, I know a lot of people are putting on their tinfoil hats and saying, oh, hamstring injury, maybe he's faking it. I mean, it's almost like perfect timing of like the whole story with the NFLPA and JC Treader telling running backs to fake their injury so that they get paid. Now, just so happens that maybe Alex Anzalone's I want to be clear. I'm not going to speculate on any of that sort of stuff. I kind of find it disgusting that people are. Like, if you believe what you want to believe, but like assuming that a player is faking an injury to get a contract done is, in my opinion, disrespectful. So I will not be playing those games.
Shanked in chat, hamstring is code word for you are hamstringing my spending habits.
Is the hamstring attached to the money bone?
Well, Zach Cunningham looked good, so.
Well, I think that's the other reason why, like, I mean, Jeremy, you say it's like disrespectful. I feel like in a league like the NFL, where it's like, yeah, you sit out too long though, and like someone else just ends up looking really good, and then it's
Taking
like,
your
hey, I'm
job,
better
yeah.
now. Yeah, and it's like I'm better now, and it's like, yeah, well, too bad. He's great.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and tell you Alex Anzalone for sure isn't the kind of person to do it, but I will never assume the worst in a person like that when I don't know the specifics of a situation. And yeah, maybe even calling it the worst is not fair to Anzalone, because maybe if he is doing that, maybe that's something that is in his best interest. I just don't think it's happening. Maybe I'm naive.
I don't know.
No one knows. Which is why I don't jump to that.
No one knows. Great song. Queens of the Stone Age.
I think I'm gonna take the D-line question out from the second segment since we talked about it so much in the first.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I'm gonna have that stuck in my head.
You're welcome. Do we want it? Do we want to jump in second segment?
We could. Unless there's anything that you guys want us to talk about. D-Lines for Life, 17 months subscribed on Twitch, says, go Loins, F the Bears, F the Packers, Vikings suck Lions balls. Sure, I'll say it. Why not?
Oh, yeah, you said it. There you go.
I did.
I like how it's specifically the Vikings. I guess real quick, you guys definitely, like, if you had your NFC North hierarchy of teams you dislike.
Mm-hmm.
Miko, what does yours look like? from lowest to most intense dislike.
Um, lowest is probably Packers.
I think mine is Packers too.
What is
Yeah,
wrong
like
with you guys?
I know.
I don't think it's well because Aaron Rodgers leaving kind of shined a light like, oh, I just hate him. Like I really hate that guy.
I mean, that's somewhat fair, but
Um, yeah, I think my list might actually shock people. It's Packers, Vikings, Bears. Like I
Mm.
hate the Bears.
I have those two flip-flopped, but Packers is my like I'm less annoyed with them than I am Bears fans who are just like completely delusional. I can see like from the aspect if you want to put Bears fans the lowest because you're like you're harmless
Okay, hold
because
on.
you're
Are
so
we talking
delusional.
fans or are we talking people? Or are we talking teams? Because if we're talking fans, then like yeah, my list is probably different.
I think you have to take everything into account.
it's it. I'm sorry. The Packers have run the NFC North for so long, and there's just a smugness around that organization that Aaron Rodgers fit perfectly, but still remains there. That they
Yeah,
will forever be my least favorite team in the NFC North. Right now, it's the Bears next because they're just like they're also cocky.
Gosh.
This Ben Johnson stuff is annoying. Listen,
Hmm.
I know this is gonna play into I love the Vikings
This
stuff.
guy loves Aaron Jones, man. It's
No,
crazy.
I just don't care about the Vikings. Like
That's not true.
No, it is true because
We
what's
all know
happening
that
on
we all know
Twitter.
you're secretly praising JJ McCarthy behind closed
No,
doors,
stop
and you
it.
just can't wait to
Stop.
see him
Hold on.
shine.
What do you mean? What do you
The
please
stuff
elaborate.
that's happening on Twitter with them hating Kirby Joseph, that is not real life. That is Twitter. All right? You go into Minnesota, you're not dealing with that kind of crap actually there. And I don't and who on that team do you dislike?
I don't really like Harrison Smith. He kind of
Um Harrison Phillips.
I was gonna say what's the other Harrison? Yeah, Phillips.
Harrison Phillips with his dirty ass play on Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Okay, fine. I'll give you that for one instance in his entire career.
That's okay. I hate that you can be like the Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee for your football team and be a loser on the football field. Um, especially when it comes to sportsmanship, because I feel like that is part of like the embodiment of that award. But yeah, no, I guess the smugness of the Packers fans with them not being as good as they think they are, like that has kind of helped like wane my hatred for the Packers a bit. Where it's
But
like,
to me, it's not even the
Yeah.
fans. It's the entire organization. Oh, we're publicly owned. Ooh.
Yeah,
It
but I
doesn't
feel
mean
like I don't know,
anything. Get
like it makes me laugh at. I guess it just makes me laugh at them more because it's just like you're so delusional of like where you are, like in the hierarchy of this division. Like, yeah,
yeah. So, is it Jay Cesarski in chat on Twitch says Vikings fans truly think they've had a more traumatic history than the Lions fans. Some of that too, like bothers me. Like Vikings fans just talk about like, oh man, we're just the unluckiest groups of,
But
suckers. And it's like you've been to a Super Bowl, like
I don't like this trauma off though. Like our trauma is worse than your trauma. Like who cares?
no, I agree, but also I hate what's his name? Is it Paul Allen?
The
I
radio
can't.
announcer.
I hate Paul Allen. I hate him. Hate his guts. Don't like him.
I'm
Might
like
might
I
might
would,
be a good person. Might be a good person behind closed doors, but like the Brett Favre interception against New Orleans. This isn't Detroit. This is a Super Bowl.
but there is something that I mean his calls of some of like the most iconic terrible moments in Minnesota history are fantastic. I can't remember what team it was, but like the Vikings get bounced from the playoffs in week 17 on this like toe tap in
Josh McCown, Arizona
Yes.
Cardinals. Yeah.
yes, and he's just like, no, this can't be how it ends, and it's just like it's so good, and the same with like the Seattle game where they missed the kick wide left.
Yeah, I know. Where he's trash talking the Indianapolis Colts punter for being garbage or whatever.
That one bounces at the 20 because the punter's terrible. I'm
Yeah.
just like, wow, dude. Like,
I do like, well, here's the thing I like and I dislike though, is he's like an equal opportunity offender. Because he was
yeah.
also busting Jalen Rager too, like in that
Yes,
same
true.
game.
He was. Oh man. If you ever have the opportunity, like I prefer Dan Miller like a million times to one, because I do think some of what Paul Allen does is like borderline unprofessional, or maybe not even borderline.
Yeah, borderline. He
Mhm.
definitely crosses over.
Like
Habitual
but
line stepper.
but
Yeah.
yes, but it's hard to argue that like if like I'm scrolling through social media and it's a top 10 calls, I'm going to sit and listen to them from Paul Allen like 100%. But yeah, straight up
I
calling out players like that is one way to do your job.
I can't imagine you make very good relationships with players when you're doing that.
I would think not.
Oh, there's no way. There's no way he's like going down to the locker room.
Uh, but yeah, I guess what you were just saying, Jeremy, if you're just scrolling through social media and not talking about like come across like a Paul Allen call or anything like that, but like if I'm just scrolling through Twitter, I just I just get most annoyed with Vikings fans. And I
Yeah,
know it's not
or
real life. Go out,
yes,
like touch
that's
grass.
fair.
I get it. Um, but the unfortunate reality is that I have to scroll through Twitter sometimes. Because if you don't scroll through Twitter, you miss news like, Tom Pelissero.
Zach Tom.
4 years, $88 million.
What is that
Yeesh.
compared to Panay? I don't remember Panay's deal.
I don't know, but it's the deal includes a $30.2 million signing bonus, which is the largest signing bonus for an offensive lineman in the history of the NFL.
I feel like that could be a little misleading. Like Zach, we're talking about Zach Tom, the Packers right tackle, because like if you were putting all of your guarantees into option bonuses instead of signing bonuses, like it
Yeah,
serves the
like what
same
does it really
purpose,
matter? Yeah.
right? I don't know. Why you got like I don't even have Madden on my computer right now. I don't know if we'll do a man's stream or not. The one thing that I am excited about, since I have like a whole new hard drive, is like computer's running real nice right now.
Oh, there you go.
Barely anything on the C drive.
You need to get that new Madden's not even out yet.
Yeah.
So you have to go back in the old one.
Dan, how dare you? Who downloads that
Oh,
stuff anyways?
Dan, this is a family show.
Right? um yeah, Detroit, thank you for the 71 months subscribed to the channel. Not even using his Twitch Prime, which is a good reminder. Hey, do you have Amazon Prime? Did you
I
just
do.
enjoy yourself Prime Day? Or maybe you didn't. Maybe you're like, I don't want to spend money. I'm saving my money. Prime Day is kind of a scam anyways, because, if you get one of those apps that tracks the prices, is like, oh, so you raised the price like a month ago so that it looked like you were going to give me it. Anyways, if you have Amazon Prime, maybe save some money during Prime Day. Doesn't matter, because you can subscribe to us for free if you have Amazon Prime. All you have to do is go to twitch.tv, sign up for free, create a free account, go into the settings of your account, do a little attachments, connected accounts, link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, and then you can hit that subscribe button, that purple subscribe button somewhere in that general vicinity, and then hit use Prime sub for free. It's a way to support this stream without costing you a single cent. And, if you want to stick it to Amazon Prime for whatever reason, you're taking money out of their pockets, putting it into ours. How could it be any better?
Clearly affecting Jeff Bezos' ability to live.
That's right. So, anyways, if you're over on YouTube, you watch us on YouTube, it probably, for a even moderately savvy internet person, 5 minutes to do.
No, not that obvious. What a nice thing to say. The free subscribe to the show is worth more than all the Amazon Prime benefits.
I'm gonna softly disagree, but I appreciate it.
But I mean, take away things like Twitch things, take away watch parties.
RP Twitch things. Who in chat, in either chat, was around when we were doing some Twitch things streams?
Shit, I remember the ones during COVID.
Any OGs remember the Kyle Kasky Foundation stream?
Oh,
Benefit stream?
I don't even know where I was during that time. That's
If you don't,
wild.
if you have no idea what we're talking about, Kyle Kasky used to be the Lions running backs coach. He had his own foundation that we supported. It was one of our first like charity things before Movember was a thing, and we got him to, if I remember correctly, he wasn't playing Twitch Sings. He instead pulled out a guitar and did like a acapella version of Ice Ice Baby, which was fantastic. We also had Ty Johnson on the stream. Yes, that Ty Johnson that burned the crap out of the Lions in December of last year.
that monkey
Who
paw
else?
curled.
There was someone else.
Oh wait, I think I do vaguely remember this stream. Okay, because I think I was like, yeah, I think I popped in and out to watch this.
Yeah. There was a couple other running backs, or at least one more running back, or maybe it was a fullback. I think it was a fullback. I don't remember who it was at the time, though. But anyways, that's lost to history. Well, you know what? I was gonna say somewhere in my hard drive I probably have that. Nope, probably don't anymore. Oh, LJ, you got dinner with him. I forgot about that. That was was that one of the prizes? I know someone got a hat signed by him. He and his wife were extremely, extremely nice. And if I'm not mistaken, he's now coaching running backs on a UFL team. I'm not sure which one, but really good dude. Every now and then I get a nice little text from him. Schmeven, 19 months subscribed to the channel, says Vikings fans are the stepchild that is desperate for fans of the other three teams to pay attention to them.
I think that's accurate.
I kind of still think that's the Bears.
I think the Bears are getting there. Like they're the stepchild that got like one good report card and they're like, hey, look how great I am now. And it's like,
Right.
hey, that's a progress
The
report, kid.
Vikings went 14-3 last year. Like, they actually commanded some attention, right?
Yeah, but they still act as if they don't get enough of it. Right? Like,
Sure. Not a Vikings fan.
Kind of has a point.
I think
did,
you guys
Marty-
are just Packers fans. If there's suddenly only 3 on your list, you guys must be Packers fans.
Buddy, how long have you been recording this podcast with me with Jordan Love as a member of the Green
That's
Bay
why I'm
Packers?
shocked how they are 3 on your list.
I mean, an organization that is clearly just a bunch of bumbling buffoons when you don't even know which quarterback to start. When you have an elite quarterback just sitting on the bench.
The franchise that is benching Malik Willis, and you're just like, they're fine.
Hashtag free Malik. Madi, I did get that came across my notifications that Philip Rivers retired as a Charger. So I think he like probably signed a contract or whatever.
Okay.
But
It's kind of like the Ndamukong Suh retirement. I'm like, do I write something about this on the website, or since he hasn't played in 3 years, do I like, okay, this is a tweet?
Yeah,
he's retiring with Tampa Bay, right? Like that's what I would assume he would retire with.
I don't know. I don't even know if it's an official retire with a team. I think it's just, hey, I'm not playing football anymore. By the way, subscribe to my pod. That's what that is. It was like, hey, pay attention to me because I'm launching a podcast. That's what Ndamukong Suh's retirement was.
Talk about like no, I wouldn't say a heel turn, but just like a flip of the script of who I thought Ndamukong Suh was to who he is now, and it's just like, oh, okay. A little more snobby than I thought you were.
I saw. No, he's always been very snobby. He's always been very, very snobby. Hall of Fame? I think he's got a very interesting case.
Won a ring.
I believe he won 2.
Won 2 with Tampa Bay. No, one with
No,
Tampa Bay.
one,
Right?
one with
Hold
Tampa.
on. Was he somewhere else? I thought he with the Rams. Is that right?
I thought it was the
Oh
year after the Rams.
yeah. No, was he?
No, he's just a one-timer. But
I was thinking
he's
about the year in Philly, but they didn't win the Super Bowl that year.
defensive rookie of the year,
Mhm.
3-time first team All Pro, 2-time second team All Pro, 5-time Pro Bowler. That's a lot right there alone.
No,
And a Super Bowl champ. He's with the Eagles too when they went to the Super Bowl, but lost.
that's what I was thinking. Was it 2022?
Yeah.
Yeah, they lost to the Chiefs.
Yeah. Yep.
So you're saying
Um,
Hall of Fame in general or like first ballot?
In general.
I think in general, yeah. It might
yeah,
take him a couple.
yeah. I don't know. I don't
Like,
think he's first ballot Hall of Famer. The most interesting thing about his career when you look at his stats is that he had that 10 sack season as a rookie, and then
never got any better.
never got to that. The highest he had after that was 8.5 in his final season in Detroit.
His best football was played in Detroit, which is kind of wild to say.
It was, but it's also like he couldn't live up to the contract that he got in Miami.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just the deal he got with Miami immediately set him up to like not
hmm
be successful in the eyes of that deal.
Yeah, and I mean, like, there is something to be said about like you went from Miami for 3 years to the Rams to Tampa to Philly. Like, there's that sort of jumping around of the careers. I think hurts your chances in a way. Like, if he was just in Detroit for 10 years and like the same stats, I almost feel like he would have a better case because I don't know, just wow, Detroit didn't want to let him go because he was that good. He definitely belongs in the
Yeah.
college football Hall of Fame, right? Like that dude was one of the best college football players of all
Oh,
time.
for sure.
Arguably should have been the Heisman Trophy winner.
Right.
Well, because like Jeremy, to your point about like his time here in Detroit, like I feel like when he was in Detroit, like you could talk about him as being dominant, like in the interior. I don't know if I feel that way where he was anywhere else, where you were like, oh,
Yeah.
like
When did Aaron Donald come in? 2014? Because I feel like that's took a lot of like, oh, move aside, Sue. I'm the new defensive tackle in town.
probably.
It was I think it was 2013 draft because it was the same as Ebron.
Mm-hmm.
Was it
And so-
13 or was it 14? It was 14, yeah.
Yeah. And so that's Sue's last year. I mean, it does feel fall off the planet is not the right term, but it does feel like, yeah, he was straight up feared in Detroit, and then he went to Miami, and it was like, who cares? A little bit.
Yeah, no, it was a slow, steep downwards of like you're saying, like one of the most feared defensive players in the league, and then like he gets to Miami, and it's just like, oh, he's just
Yeah.
another guy.
No, no, no. He wasn't just another guy. Come on.
Who did he like? Who's the quarterback that he just like ragdolled? Do you know what I'm talking about? I'm trying to remember what it looked like.
I remember I was online defending that hit that Sue put on Stafford in the playoffs, where people were saying that he like intentionally kicked him in the nuts.
That was to Stafford?
Yeah, it was a playoff game. I'm pretty sure.
I was like, he kicked so
who
many
did he-
dudes in the
like, he-
nuts, like while he was playing. I don't know.
I'm a big Sue truther though, so
I'm trying.
oh no, it was the other way around. It was people saying that Stafford like intentionally kicked Sue in the nuts, and people being like,
Uh,
"Oh no, Matthew didn't do that intentionally." I was like, "He absolutely did."
No, it's not. I think it was when he was with Miami. I don't know. I'm not gonna find this. There's so many like Ndamukong Suh plays to like wade through. I thought he almost got in a fight with a quarterback. Oh my god. Was he the one that like shoved? There was one where he like shoved someone and someone like everyone was like, "Oh, he forearm punched a guy."
Oh yeah.
Was that Jay Cutler? I feel like that
It
was
was
Jay
Jay
Cutler.
Cutler. It was Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
I kind of want to just like look at that one. I remember that one pissing me off. That one to this day I will defend. We might, well, if this gets us demonetized on YouTube, so what? But like this is the one where I'm just like, oh, we don't need to see me here. This is not actually gonna have video of it. God, I hate these videos that. Yeah, that's not gonna. Jay Cutler and
I'm looking, and
shout out to
with
the 158 people watching us.
oh, cool. Check this out. We're talking about Ndamukong Suh and how after he left Detroit, he wasn't just another guy, according to Miko. He was
One Pro Bowl.
he was tied for 7th in pressures among interior defenders in 2015. His first year.
Okay, but I'm also comparing
In
that to
Miami.
what he was in Detroit. I'm comparing that to what he was in Detroit to what he did. Like, I feel like he kind of like I said, I feel like it was a
This is
steady
the one.
decline downwards.
This is the one where he just gets punished for being too strong. Here he comes. Just. Of course, the video is called Sue's forearm punch to Cutler.
Oh,
A
I do remember
Bears
this
fan
one.
definitely uploaded that.
Right? Let's see. I mean, it's just a two-hand shove. It's hand to hand. Hand.
Yeah, I still can't believe this got flagged.
Like,
Well,
okay, he
I
may
think
have pushed him in the back of the head, maybe?
Yeah, I think it looks up near the head or neck area, but I don't know if at this point there was that big emphasis in the NFL.
I was gonna say I don't even think that was. I don't even know if that was the call.
Like, I mean, I'm not even entirely sure it's on. Like, it's just such a blur. It's hard to say if that's on the helmet or the back of the shoulder pad. But yeah, he's also a runner. It's just like
I think it definitely starts at the back, like where the nameplate is, and then probably like where he like obviously as he's like pushing forward, like
right.
gets up into the helmet.
Jim Short's just losing his mind. Yeah. Anyways, that was a fun memory lane of. But he stepped on Aaron Rodgers, all right?
Oh no, for sure.
Stomp maybe, but like.
Oh
Definitely.
no, he stomped. Like that was. I remember trying to defend that to people, but like in deep in my heart, I was like, no, I know what he did there, and I'm okay with it.
Man, if you want to know why Draymond Green ended up the way he did, grew up in Saginaw, and there were Lions games going on every Sunday. So
He just learned behavior from Ndamukong Suh.
he learned how to feign a stomp.
I don't think Jim Schwartz will ever get another head coaching opportunity. No.
It just like it almost feels like ageism at this point. Like he's just too
Yeah,
old.
yeah. At this point, he's kind of aged out. And also, like, I feel like if you're too good as a coordinator, like Steve Spagnuolo, right?
Right.
Like, I don't think Steve Spagnuolo will ever get another head coaching job.
Well, and that's kind of like the thing that I worry about with Brian Flores. Like if he continues to do this well with Minnesota's defense, like
Yeah.
buddy, you might not ever get another head coaching gig.
Well,
I mean, I don't know, someone might.
they also kind of proved that they were not giving him head coaching opportunities.
I was gonna say like it's probably gonna take a while for the league to forget about that whole span
Yeah.
of time.
Who will get a head coaching job first, Miko? John Gruden or Brian Flores?
NFL head coaching job?
NFL head coaching job.
It's got to be Brian Flores, right?
I think so. I
Like
think I
you
think
can't you
go ahead.
if I'm remembering correctly what John Gruden got in trouble for, like you kind of can't put that dude back in charge of players. Like,
You can't.
no, like Brian Flores, like I feel like at some point in time, like the public, like again, especially if he keeps doing this well as a defensive coordinator, because he's actively coaching in some capacity, there's always going to be something to point to be like, hey, this is why he deserves a job. And enough people in the media will push that narrative to where like whether it's like just pressure from the public, like eventually some teams gonna be like, yeah, we'll hire him as our head coach. We'll forget all about the whole, you accuse the league of not hiring you because you were black, like type of situation. But like John Gruden's not doing anything remotely close to like making you think that he can actually lead a team to a successful season.
I also think in John Gruden's mind, he's probably living his best kind of life right now. Where he's being a goofball. He's around people who don't care about anything he's done in his past. They just like this goofy guy who talks about football and
In a very
bananas.
intense way, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Uh, I wouldn't be
I was like, what's
surprised if he
better
takes a
than
college job though. Like,
oh, like
I
the
don't
Bill
know,
Belichick route?
kind of. I don't know if I would compare their arcs necessarily, but who knows?
They're both very questionable for different reasons.
I suppose that's true. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't. At the same time, owners are petty enough to be like, yeah, no, we aren't touching that Flores guy. We need to protect ourselves.
No, and that's why I said like I think to Ryan's point, like I think that's why it makes them both like a long shot. But to your point, I think John Gruden is living his best life. Like Jay Rago said, it's like he's still getting like 10 mil a year to just be himself
I,
without any expectation of like leading a team to the playoffs.
I liked how long ago was that with RG3 when he made those comments and like Jay Gruden was like, "What are you bringing me into this for?"
Oh, that's another person that's just like been in hot water for a while.
RG3?
Man,
I mean,
What
Shaq is on
has he done recently? I don't know.
Shaq is on his ass.
What's Shaq doing?
Shaq,
Besides not watching the Pistons.
Mark Henry. Did Mark Henry also say something to?
What?
I mean, that's like 800 pounds worth of man right there. That
So yeah, I think it was like a couple weeks ago now. RG3 retweeted someone had like someone had made a cover of NBA 2K with Angel Reese as the cover, but she was a monkey.
Oh,
And
Lord.
RG3
boy,
retweeted it and like went on this whole soliloquy about like started it out by like, hey, this isn't right, but then made the rest of the tweet about himself.
What? What are we
Yeah.
doing? I like that WNBA has become more popular. I hate every single conversation surrounding the WNBA. I hate sports narrative WNBA. I stay the hell away from all of it because it's just a mess.
it's become a lightning rod for anything but women's basketball.
Yes, exactly. That is the perfect way to put it.
All right, Tactile Puma, I want to let you in on a little Slack secret. He puts in the Twitch chat. Look at this bad thing you wouldn't have seen without me retweeting it. Jeremy implemented a rule in our Slack that is basically I saw it, so you have to see it too, no matter how bad it is.
I've since admitted this was a terrible mistake.
And unlike the Constitution, it cannot be amended. So
I can't put the tube back in the toothpaste.
it's
Or
binding.
the
It's
toothpaste
binding
back
law.
in the tube.
I was gonna say that's not how that's saying.
There's another one. Add it
Can't
to the
put the
list.
can't put the mouse back in the tube, no matter how steady you are.
Yeah, that's right. Someone made a spitting into Batman,
Oh, really?
Superman's face thing.
Superheroes mixed up. That's on brand.
I forgot what I was gonna say. Doesn't matter. JP is me. Thank you for the 31 months. Says I always think I hate the Vikings or the Bears more. Then Green Bay gets overhyped, and I remember the truth. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's right. That's correct. I need to get Eric in here. He'll join me in some Packers hate.
Just low hanging fruit. It's like we get it. You're Lions fans. You don't like the Packers. We get it.
I don't know. I feel like when it comes to the Bears specifically, like I feel like the Bears still get talked about in a way where it's just like it's purely off of history. Like they've been bad for so long and no one wants to acknowledge that. And it's like, but it's this historic franchise and Soldier Field and Dick
Do they
Butkus and
though?
blah blah blah. And it's like
Are you just hanging
they
out
suck
around
though.
Adam Rank? I don't know anyone who talks about the Bears like that. Do they? Maybe I'm missing out on it.
I feel like every time they're on the like every time they're on TV, it's just like this historic franchise and like how good they used to be. And it's like, yeah, but they suck now. Like,
It's cut to
can we just
Mike Ditka.
acknowledge that?
Cut to Mike Ditka or Chris Farley. One of the two.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Mm.
It's like the 86 Bears, right? Or the 85 Bears. What year is it? 85?
Sorry, I got distracted by spitting toothpaste in the face of a mouse.
You probably wouldn't know what that means unless you are part of the live streams, right?
And even if you are, you probably only get 10% of it.
Yeah. It would require you to listen to us like 100% of the time.
Right.
There's no one who does that.
I certainly wouldn't recommend that.
No.
All right, we're caught up on alerts. You guys want to get into segment 2?
I was gonna say if there's a time to listen to us 100% of the time, it's about to be right now.
It's true. It's a good point. All right, get us on the right scene here. Okay, good to go when you are.
Right. And welcome back to the Pride of Detroit POD cast. We are once again talking about training camp. We're basically first 2 days into training camp so far this week. And one of the biggest things to like really talk about, this series of training camp is the offensive line. There have been a lot of adjustments, a lot of movement. Obviously, we all know about the retirement of Frank Ragnow, Kevin Zeitler moving on. The Lions have a lot that they have to figure out, Jeremy. And so I really want to ask, like, what are your initial thoughts of what the Lions have been doing with this O line in terms of trying to find, that starting group that they feel, really strongly about?
Yeah, I mean, I think the message that has been sent to the media, either advertently or inadvertently, is we think we know who we have already. We think Christian Mahogany is going to be our starting left guard. We think Tate Ratledge is going to be our starting center, and we think Graham Glasgow is going to be our starting right guard. And we want to run that as much as possible early on to see if everyone can kind of click into place. And if it does, great. If not, Dan Campbell said it today, like we are fully confident in Graham Glasgow playing center and then, presumably sliding Tate Ratledge to right guard. But there hasn't been any rotation with the starters so far. It hasn't been that much of a surprise given how much Tate Ratledge played center in the spring. And so, I can't sit here and say like, oh, it looks great because the pads aren't on yet, but it certainly looks like the Lions are devoted to giving this a try. And I think we'll know more once the pads do come on how everything is working. Certainly once the preseason starts as well, although I don't know how many of these guys, if any, are actually going to play in the preseason. But the message right now is we think we have our starting 5. Let's see if we're right.
And I think like a lot of the conversation really is going to circle around that interior, right, Ryan? When you look at Mahogany, Ratledge, Glasgow, the Lions seem to be fairly set on trying to get Tate Ratledge up to speed to play that center role. But whenever you hear Dan talking about like, well, hey, we feel comfortable about Graham, being versatile enough to play both, how well do you think that's going to go with Graham Glasgow? Because he seems pretty well set on like, hey, he knows where he wants to play on this offensive line. I just question if he gets that much of a say so in it.
Yeah, I thought that was one of the most interesting things that's been unearthed in training camp so far is the report from Dave Burkett in the Detroit Free Press. Graham had a quote to the Free Press saying, quote, "I'm re-signing with the intention on playing right guard." He said, "That's my preference. Like, I really want to play right guard over left guard." He's like, "But would you play left guard if we needed you to?" I'm assuming he's talking to management, whether it's Holmes or Campbell or whatever.
Right.
And Glasgow says, and I'm like, well, I guess I would, I guess, but I kept re-emphasizing, but I would really rather not. And then that ended up happening. It was interesting talking about, Frank's situation. It was a good learning experience, but I'm happy that I don't have to do it again. So it really sounds like Graham, part of his agreement to play in Detroit is really predicated on making it clear I want to play right guard, which I think, Jeremy, is where everybody wants him to play based on how he
Yeah.
played in 2023, where he played some of his best football that he's played in his entire career. Sounds like he wants to be there. You should probably make accommodations for that at this point for a guy who's
Sure.
a veteran, right?
Yeah. And I mean, I think it puts 2024 into a very interesting context, right? Where he was basically forced against his will to play left guard. He re-signed, didn't want to play left guard, told him he didn't want to play left guard, and then they signed Kevin Zeitler, and they're like, well, we're not going to put Zeitler at left guard. He's played right guard his literal entire career. And Graham has been a good sport in doing it. But he also has like this, I wouldn't say brutal honesty, but like it's almost innocent honesty where he might not even realize what he's saying could rub people the wrong way. Where he's just like, yeah, I didn't want to do that. I don't like playing center. Like he said those things publicly several times, and I appreciate that because one, it makes my job a lot easier, and two, I think that sort of honesty is not necessarily disrespectful in any sort of way. But if you are looking at the season and you're concerned about Graham Glasgow, I think you look at this news and be like, well, this is good. He's always wanted to play right guard. He thinks he's best at right guard, and that certainly seems where he's headed. I think a debate can be had whether you buy this all. Like, do you buy that Graham is actually going to return to 2023 form at his more quote unquote natural position? Because he's not going to have Frank Ragnow on his left and Penei Sewell on his right. He's just going to have Penei Sewell on his right.
I mean, I think you at least have to consider the fact that at least he'll be happier, right? And a happier
Sure.
player probably plays better, right? He's not going to be as mentally frustrated about certain things that are going wrong. So if he feels like he can play his best, again, if I think it's something that makes it easier to maybe brush off if you do have a bad play. It's like, okay, no, but I know I can get back the next snap and play this a lot better. Whereas, like you were saying, playing in left guard in 2024, if that was something that he really didn't want to do, well, then you probably didn't get your best version of Graham on top of the fact that he was injured. And I think that's something like him coming out and saying this publicly is clearly something he's obviously probably said behind closed doors as well. I doubt he would say this publicly without saying it to Dan or Hank Fraley
Right.
or anyone else. And so I think it does kind of give you a window into like what the Lions are going to have to do with Tate Ratledge. And I said it kind of in the first segment where, Dan talked about, hey, this first 10 days or so is going to give us a really good look at this group. But I think at the same time, you also feel like, yeah, but this is like 10 days of like Tate. Like you really gotta like lock in and be able to really show some growth at playing center.
And I know it's a different position and it's a different situation, and I don't want to start talking about the kicker battle, but with Jake Bates, right? Like they threw all of this belief and all of this, will behind this thing is going to work. And we're going to have some lumps and bruises along the way, but we think that this kid can shine in this spot. I know it's much different, right? It's a kicker versus a center, and it's the center of the Detroit Lions, and this is arguably one of the, I don't know, top three important positions on the Detroit Lions offense for a football team that wants to run the football, for a football team that, Frank and Jared worked in such good, you know, the thing about it is I think the Lions need to take that same approach that they took with Jake Bates with Tate Ratledge in training camp. Like they have to throw their full faith behind them, bumps, bruises, everything that happens along the way. Unless things get so incredibly dire, guys, in my opinion, you're on this track now.
Right.
You have to kind of go through some of the growing pains. And that's going to go into the regular season. Like there are going to be growing pains throughout the season, but I think this is an incurred cost because of the tough situation you got put in with Frank Ragnow retiring. I truly think that if this is the route you're going, like you're saying, here's our center on day one of training camp, you have to stick with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned the growing pains really quick, Miko, and I'll let you go after that. Because we talked to Taylor Decker today, and someone asked him like, "Listen, that offensive line is awfully young now, like from front to back, very young. Do you feel like there is a role that you need to take on to be mentor or be some sort of support?" And he mentioned exactly that, like, as an offensive lineman, you have good days and you have bad days, and I need to be there to support these guys through the bad games, through the bad days, because they're going to happen into the regular season. They're going to happen, and I need to let these guys know that's business in the NFL. You might dominate 99 out of 100 snaps at the college level because you're just that much more physically and athletically gifted. That's not how it works in the NFL. You're going to have tough days. You're not going to recognize a blitz pickup and call the wrong protection. I need to make sure these guys' head remains in the game and the standard remains the standard. That is something that multiple offensive linemen have said, is the standard remains the standard. We don't expect to take a significant step back. We expect to still be considered a top offensive line in the league, and we are going to do everything in our power to make sure that happens.
And I think that's the benefit of having a Taylor Decker. That's the benefit of still having a Panay Sewell, because those I obviously Panay is one of your best players on the team in the first place, but Taylor's been here for so long, and I think people sometimes forget like how important having a Taylor Decker is to your team. It is that different type of vocal leader. I think Panay is very much like that emotional leader, specifically for the offense, but I think Taylor Decker has an opportunity here to do exactly what you're talking about, Jeremy, to kind of help course correct and kind of help guys, move on to the next play when things possibly don't go right. But Ryan, I really like something that you were saying in regards to, being able to just kind of throw Tate Rowledge in and kind of just roll with the punches. It's something that the Lions haven't had to do for a while, right? Like it was something that was very common though when Dan and Brad Holmes first got here. A lot of those early draft picks that they were taking were getting thrown directly into the fire, and you had to either sink or swim. And for the, and the benefit of the Lions, a lot of those guys swam. And so I think you're finding yourself back there maybe a little sooner than you were hoping, with a Frank Ragnow retiring. But it is something that this coaching staff has familiarity with, which is taking talented players and putting them in position and just saying like, hey, you're going to have to figure this out. We're going to be here to support you, but you have got to figure this out.
Yeah, I mean, Jonah Jackson, right? Like, I mean, stick with Jonah. Uh, it was a young offensive line when they inherited it, relatively speaking. You have Panay, the very first draft pick, and they've matured along the way. But I think you guys both circle a great point. Taylor Decker is the elder statesman of not even just the offensive line. Like Jim Caldwell, Matt Patricia, Dan Campbell. He's seen it all, right?
Yeah.
He's seen the highs, he's seen the lows, and I think it was a great point by Miko to say like Panay Sewell might be the guy who's in the middle of that, little powwow at the beginning of the game where it's like that guy's going to get you amped up and ready to go, but you also need that captain who's going to be able to chart you through choppy waters, and that's
Yep.
going to happen throughout the season. And it's just the reality of business and the situation that the Lions are in. Like it's not going to be perfect. So I think that's the big point, and my big takeaway is Graham wants to be at right guard. That's where he feels like he's at home. He even admitted in that Freep story to Dave, like, yeah, I practice a little bit at center in the offseason, but like it's Tate Ratledge's job.
Yep.
I think it's better to go with go with the young guy who you see as the future, right?
Yep.
If that's your future center, then go with it.
Right.
Like don't have him between positions or anything, or oh, the first 2 weeks it looks a little rocky. Okay, like it should. The guy is just playing center for the first time in the NFL. Like that's going to happen. It's the cost of doing business. You can't pull the plug on it though, and I don't think they will. I
No.
think I think I think they'll follow through on it because it's the right way to do this.
And Graham even said in that interview with Burkett, like they've told me I'm playing right guard. They've told me don't expect to play any center unless we really need you to. And so
Yeah, I
to
mean,
me,
yeah.
that's very clear that that's where things are headed right now. The only other thing I want to add before we can move on to something else, if you other guys are done with this topic, is let's not forget another very important aspect to Tate Ratledge and his growth and this entire offensive line's operation. The coach, the offensive
Yeah.
line coach, Hank Fraley. There was another thing that
Hmm.
Decker mentioned today. The foundation of this offense is really the dynamicness of the run game. And that is something that Hank Fraley has been in charge of 4 years and now has like the official run game coordinator title.
Hmm.
That is still in good shape. That is still what they want it to be. And yes, there's going to be new names that are going to have to slide in and do his vision. But what makes you think Hank Fraley can't turn Tate Ratledge into a center? What makes you think that Christian Mahogany won't turn into a strong left guard if he isn't already? I feel like just having him here is a little bit of a security blanket. No, like, even though the lines are plunging into the unknown here, you still have Hank Fraley here to guide them in the right direction.
No, and I think that's a very good point that I think a lot of Lions fans need to hold on to when it comes down to like again, if you're questioning whether or not Tate can make this transition from guard to center, Hank Fraley's been here with a lot of these guys and has seen a lot of these guys and helped a lot of these guys improve. And with saying that, I kind of do want to switch gears a little bit, not drastically, but switching it over to that second team of this offensive line because as important as that starting five is, first of all, Dan Skipper is filling in for Taylor Decker as of right now because Decker's still dealing with an injury, which means that we got to see, or at least Jeremy got to see a lot of Giovanni Manu playing left tackle. Um, Jeremy, what are some of your bigger takeaways from that second group? Again, obviously there's no pads, there's not a lot to take away as far as like how the play is, but what do you
Right.
think of like that grouping and how they're putting certain guys in position to get snaps?
Yeah, that's what you're kind of looking at this time of year is the rotation, right? Like who's playing where and how does that change game from game or practice from practice? The thing with Manu is that he's solely a left tackle. Like they are not moving him to right tackle. They are not overloading his plate. Or maybe you could say maybe they're preparing him to be the backup left tackle or preparing him to eventually be maybe a starting left tackle down the line. I still think that's far away, but I find it interesting given that they're down a tackle. He's also generally playing with both the second and the third team. There's a little bit of rotation there. Some Jamarco Jones at left tackle as well, but Jamarco's playing both left and right. The other thing that's kind of interesting is the backup center job. So when we went out there on Sunday, it was Guakin. Kingsley Guakin was the backup center. Came out today on Monday, it was Nice. That's one of those things that's going to be a competition moving forward. But it's certainly notable that now Dan Campbell has mentioned Guakin twice and really praised the guy in terms of his growth from last year to this year. I think back when Frank Ragnow tired, it was kind of like he just brought his name up unprompted. Today he was asked about him and said, yeah, like, listen, I just really like the way he's growing. I like the way he's attacking the day. He's a guy that I don't know if this team is interested in rostering a backup, which also might be a third string center, depending on what you think they might do with Graham. If Tate Ratledge were to fall out of the starting job, do they slide Graham over? Do they trust? Like, do they get to a level of trust with Nice or Guakin where they're like, you know what? We'd rather keep Graham where he very clearly wants to stay
Yeah.
and move one of those guys up. Can one of those guys distance themselves enough from the rest of the group to have that confidence in him and win a roster spot? But also both those guys are also playing guard too. So like there's a little bit of mixing and matching everywhere.
Yeah. It becomes part of that interesting roster math that are you going to keep him active on game day? Like if he is where it's like, yeah, we wouldn't love Graham to like have to play center, but in a pinch, maybe that might have to happen. And if Tate Ratledge is going to miss any time, then we can do some interesting shuffling. Like it would be pretty telling to see like the kind of training camp that Aguakin has, or maybe even Nice, right? Like either of those guys, if they feel comfortable enough to keep those guys around on the 53 and have them be game day inactives, it would be an interesting move, but also like with the way that they're hyping them up, like if you cut like a Guakin or a Nice or you move on from any of those guys, somebody's going to pick them up. That's the benefits of having a really good and talented roster. So I think that is a really interesting thing, Jeremy, that, Dan's unprompted. Well, I guess the first time, second time, like you said, like continuing to praise Aguakin, where it's like this whole regime values and promotes and champions versatility.
Yep.
But that's a guy who's like has a very narrow, like he fits here in the middle of the offensive line, and that's what he does.
Yeah, and I don't want to, again, jump ahead too much or think too much into that, but I do it does kind of give that vibe that like maybe they want to create an environment as much as they can to keep Graham at right guard, right? Like, and so if they can get someone that is more like a true backup center so that they don't have to ask Graham to do something that he isn't very comfortable doing, at least maybe not for like more than a game or maybe more for a couple snaps,
Like a
like, hey, let's
quarter,
get
right? Yeah.
someone. Yeah, like let's get someone who can actually man this position, and so it's going to be interesting to definitely watch that backup center role. Another backup position that's going to be always interesting to watch for whatever reason, whether it's because you actually need a good one or not, but is the quarterback battle, right? And apparently Hendon Hooker had a really good day today, but it's something that I think, is always worth getting like at least a little bit of an update on. So Jeremy, from your vantage point, like how are the Lions once again approaching the backup quarterback position, battle?
Yeah, it's actually something that I admire about this organization, and it's kind of one of those little tactics that I think they use to motivate players that they want to just like take that next step. And it's, I think we're all looking at Hendon Hooker versus Kyle Allen and saying this isn't much of a competition. Yet they come out day one of training camp and Kyle Allen is QB2, Hendon Hooker is QB3. And do I think that's where they think those two quarterbacks literally stand on the depth chart? Absolutely not. But do I think they're like, come on, Hendon, you got to win this. So we're strutting, like we're putting you out in front of the media. You're going to be QB3 day one. Go prove us wrong. Like, yeah, I think that is a motivational tactic, no doubt. And then he comes out quarterback two on day two, and yeah, has a pretty darn good practice. Probably one of those practices we've seen him do. And it's not anything outstanding. It's not like he's dropping 50-yard dimes downfield, but like the accuracy is better. The decision making is there, where it's just like it's, for lack of a better term, it's kind of Goffian. It's that read isn't there. I'm immediately going to this read, and we're getting 4 to 5 yards out of it, rather than left, right. I don't know where the guy is. Like, it is very much more. You can see the progressions happening in his head, and it's happening quicker. He's talking about how that's very specifically what they've asked him to do. Work on his footwork a little bit with that as well, but. Yeah, you're starting to see it click a little bit more. Now, there are some still, like, the very first day he went out there and he had to scramble on a 7-on-7. That's not something that you really want to see on a 7-on-7. You want to see him get rid of the football. But in general, those are becoming fewer and far between 2 practices in. We'll see how much that continues. But, again, I just like the mindset from the Lions coaching staff of saying, like, hey, we said to the media and we meant it. Like, you have to go out there and win this job. So go win this job.
Not that it is necessarily a winnable job. I'm kind of jumping back to the offensive tackle stuff, but it's the larger point that you made, Jeremy, about the just about this organization and how they promote healthy competition. And you say you don't read too much into Kyle Allen getting, second team reps on day one versus then, going back to QB3 the next day in camp. But like, wouldn't you want to see Colby Sorsdal taking second team reps somewhere on day one? Like, do you get a sense? And maybe it's just not that position in general, but like, do you think that there are like leaders in the clubhouse that I don't know, like it is a competition, but it might not be, right? Like we might look back at this like at the end of August and be like, oh, the writing was on the wall, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like we do that sometimes. Are there positions, I guess, right now that you feel like it feels like it might be a competition, but it actually really isn't? I guess, to the Kyle Allen, Hendon Hooker thing, where it's like,
Yeah.
Hendon Hooker's your backup quarterback, right?
Yeah. I wonder if maybe like wide receiver 6 is that, because I thought Dominic Lovett had a really strong Monday practice, and I haven't seen much out of the UDFAs. I've seen a lot of UDFAs get chewed out a little bit through 2 practices, and of course, like
it's 2 practices.
It's 2 practices. It's their very first NFL action in training camp. I'm not ready to bury 2 UDFAs, but like you just have to wonder how much of like separation on their board, right? Is someone that they draft in the 7th round versus someone who is a UDFA. There's clearly a separation there, but is it, was it the case where like Dominic Lovett was 7th round / UDFA grade for them?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's hard to know. But otherwise, like, I don't know. It's linebacker is another one that's really interesting to me because Zach Cunningham was a guy that both Eric and I were just like, yeah, he's just kind of one of those late veterans you add, but I'm not sure if he ever makes the team. And like, lo and behold, he's starting the Alex Anzalone spot and he's actually playing pretty good. And you're like, oh, right. Like maybe it makes sense to have a good veteran backup who can play defense and not just stuff your entire depth with 4 special teamers. Like maybe you want to cover your ass a little bit for a good defender. And, is Zach Cunningham an all-star? Is he even a starting level talent at this point in his career? Maybe not. But like, dude has a lot of experience. He's still pretty darn athletic. And I think he knows defenses well enough where he can basically kind of slide in. Like, this is a guy that's new to the team and he's, really new to the team, right? I think he was added in May. And the dude's starting in training camp. And so I wonder how far ahead he is of maybe some of those guys that we thought were on the roster bubble that really aren't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I did want to bring it back to something else, Jeremy, that you were also saying in regards to like Dan Campbell being very upfront when it comes down to Hendon Hooker, like being very outspoken and direct, like, hey, we're expecting him to grow. We're expecting him to improve. And I feel like that's been like a consistent message to Hendon Hooker. Like, and I don't even mean just the message, because I think obviously the message has been the same. The thing that stands out to me whenever Dan Campbell is asked about Hendon Hooker is the tone in which he talks about Hendon Hooker. And it seems like it's very much a challenge like type of mindset where it's like you hear him talk about other players and it's sometimes like it's maybe a little more glowing, a little more positive. Like it oftentimes feels like he's challenging Hendon Hooker to rise to another level.
Yeah. I think you're reading that correctly, 100%. Like Dan Campbell is not really a hard guy to read, right? Like he'll praise the guy when he wants to, but like when you ask him about a player who's not very good, he won't disparage the guy, but he'll dance around him a little bit. And I'm not saying he's been disparaging of Hendon. I don't think he has. I think in general he's said mostly positive things about him, but I think you're right. Like there is a certain tone to how he speaks, and like Brad Holmes too, where Brad Holmes says like he's got to win that job. Now's the time. Like the opportunity, like it's on him, right? That has kind of been the message I think from both those guys is it's on Hendon now. This is his opportunity. He has to go take it.
And I wonder if that's just again I'm glad that you brought up Brad Holmes because Brad Holmes had that same tone when he talked about Christian Mahogany. And I think that is a good way of bringing that back to realizing like again what this is probably from the team from a larger scale. Like it very much is that mindset. Like nothing is given to anyone. Like if you want a role, whether it's a backup role or a starting role, like it has to be earned. Like nothing is going to be given just because you were drafted at a certain position or because you're being touted as something.
Yeah.
All right. Well, one last thing that I did want to get out of here. I feel like we can't talk about training camp without talking about special teams. And so, Jeremy being our eye in the sky, giving us a good representation of what is happening at training camp. Tell us about all the amazing things that Jake Bates has done so far in training camp.
This may shock you, but I actually have good things to say about Jake Bates today. Even though, even though he went 7 of 9 and had misses from 43 and 38, he re-kicked those and immediately made them and like absolutely crushed the ball. But what was the one thing that they were hoping to see him grow this year?
Kickoffs.
They did kickoffs for the first time today, and he had 2 like really good line drive land in the landing zone, like right at the like 5 to 10 yard line that like won the drill. Amon-Ra like bobbled it. The coverage team was down there well before the 35 now, remember? And if you bounce it through the end zone, I think it's still the 20, right? Or is it the 25? I think it's the 20.
I think it's the 20 as well, yeah.
That is something he tried last year and was not very good at, but he nailed I think 2 in a row today. And so like that seems minor and it seems meticulous, but it's not. It's
growth. Like that's the opportunity to like weaponize a guy like in a different way.
And I think it's really important to the game. Like, I think the kickoff is going to be very important this year. And if
Starting
you can
field
get
position matters a lot.
yes, if you're doing a regular touchback, that is to the 35-yard line. That is just 5 back of kicking it out of bounds. If you can do that on a consistent basis, you're talking about 10 to 15 yards of field position in your favor.
Yeah,
That's huge.
yeah, you're starting on the 35-yard line. You're talking about like a couple first downs. You might be in field goal range,
Right.
right? Like,
Yes.
yeah, it's a big difference, and it's also growth though, right? Like,
Yeah.
he's not just the one trick pony. He's not just a strong leg,
Hmm.
and like you said, Jeremy, to his credit, like did miss a couple of mid rangers, but then bounces back and makes the other two. One of my favorite things that I've read about special teams was Eric's observations and Grant Stewart returning punts
He returned 2 kicks today.
or kicks.
Just,
Yeah,
like, I mean, he's, to be clear, he's like 10th in the rotation. There's a ton of people there fielding kicks, but he
don't
did
matter.
it twice today.
Yeah.
And like, he's fast. Eric was talking to him, and like, he has a track background. He's super fast. He returned some kicks, I guess, in, was it high school or I think college? I think maybe high school. Eric's in our chat, so he'll probably correct me. But I don't think there's any world in which he actually does it this year. But yeah, as a college sophomore, there you go. It was entertaining to see, and it was also entertaining to see him do that. And of course, like, it's him. So as soon as he gets quote unquote tackled on the play, he's still going to run it all the way back to the end zone.
Yeah,
And then on
Yeah.
the very next rep, he's like running down and chasing down the kick returner next in line.
it's my dude, man. I said on the last podcast, I was like, he's going to be one of the most fun guys to watch at training camp. And
The
yeah.
crazy thing is, he already is, and that's going to be multiplied by 50 when the pads go on.
oh yeah, yeah, it's only going to get that much more eye popping
Yes.
because you're going to hear it.
Yep.
Speaking of which, when do pads go back on?
There's
Or
no
go on
official
for the
date,
first
but,
time?
but they like to
Okay.
coincide it with when fans arrive. So is that, what's that, like Saturday or Sunday?
Oh, then that's gonna be a great day for fans. So
Yeah. They usually, like, there's usually a 4 or 5 day warm up period, but I don't think you're even allowed to wear them. So we won't see them tomorrow, Thursday or Tuesday, and then Wednesday's a day off. So sometime when they come back. So like, I'm thinking Thursday, Friday, Saturday, somewhere like that.
gotcha. All right. Well, that's pretty much going to do it for this episode of the podcast. If you guys are looking for any more additional like information or insight into training camp, I have to highly recommend that you guys check out Pride of Detroit Direct. It's only $50 for the entire year, but there's a lot of stuff that we didn't get to talk about in terms of what happened at training camp. We didn't get to talk about receivers. We didn't get to talk about running backs. We didn't get to talk about some of the fun things that Johnny Mo might be doing with his offense. If you want that insight, you kind of got to go to Pride Detroit Direct because that's where Jeremy and Eric get into all of those things. They get to hang out in the Reisman room. Jeremy gets to gloat over Eric for, the first 15, 20 minutes of that podcast. It makes him feel kind of bad that his name isn't on the door. It's really entertaining, but not just that, you also get a bunch of other additional content that like most of the others, subscribers or followers of Pride Detroit don't get, whether that's written content or video content as well. So again, $50 for the year. It's great. It's a great thing to have during training camp, though. I really can't, emphasize that anymore. Another thing that I did want to put out there for you guys. So with us doing the podcast, I would highly recommend that you guys go to wherever you listen to the podcast, whether that's Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and leave us a review. It's one of those things that I really loved back when I was listening to you guys as a new listener, was like the occasional times that you guys would read out someone else's review on your podcast, make them feel like they're a part of the show, and that's something that I think would be great if we could bring that back. So if you have some thoughts, if you have some kind words that you want to put out there in a podcast review, go ahead and do that. We're going to start trying to pick those out. Maybe let it, maybe it'll be something we do at the end of the month and the last show of every month, and just kind of read those out and show you guys some love because you guys support us so well. So with all of that said, I'm Miko. He's Jeremy. He's Ryan. Thank you guys for taking the time to watch and listen, and we will see you guys in the next one.
Recording stopped.
Nice. All right. We'll hang out for a little bit here. It's nice that it's not like 9 p.m. right now.
I was gonna say like I don't feel like I have to rush and do things, so
Right.
it's kind of nice.
Yes. Let me get to How Now Brown Cows. 27-month subscription on Twitch says, Morris, say it with your chest, nut Mahatma Gandhi. Not Maccabee, but I got the cucumber. The juices are pressed, but your boy never is. I'm the art, damn it. The Don Dada Ganoush. No more cup of noodles. How Now Brown Cow, you always bring the bars and make me look like a very white person saying them. You got 25,000 channel points to do what? To bring in Eric? Eric's busy. I know he's in the chat, but he's busy. MGO Cork, thank you for 51 months subscribed to the channel. Appreciate you. If Eric wants to
Miko
come
just
on,
make an executive.
he can come on. I will allow it.
Did I make an executive decision? I don't know. What did I do
I don't know.
with the?
Oh, you mean to start talking about reviews? No, that's something we discussed beforehand.
Yeah, I don't have that much pull, guys.
And even if
Everything
you
has
did,
to be ran up the ladder.
I'm not gonna be like, oh, that's a terrible idea. How dare we talk about our fans? If we're bringing Eric on, we are definitely not doing 2026 mock drafts. I can tell you that much.
Gosh. Please no. Training camp just started. How dare you?
I'm glad you're on my side.
I mean,
how appropriate for your username.
They need D line help, Ryan. We got to start talking about it now.
Oh. Yeah, let's do it. The draft is our Super Bowl once again.
No, but I tweeted this out yesterday, and a lot of people had misconstrued it a little bit, thinking that I was praising how well they were playing at training camp. But like, how important are those first two draft picks, right? Like, and I don't know if they knew how important they were when they made them, right? It's certainly not with Tyleek. Maybe with Tate, we still don't really know the timeline there of when they expected a decision on Frank. But, I mean, your two biggest losses this offseason are arguably Levi Onwuzurike and Frank Ragnow, and your first and second round pick are the guys slated to replace those guys. It's kind of crazy and feels almost too much of a coincidence.
In the sense of what, like, do you think that they probably had a pretty good indication going in? I mean, obviously, I think about Frank, like,
yeah,
probably.
I kind of wish a reporter had pushed Dan a little bit more
On the
today,
Levi timeline.
because he talked about a timeline today. He said, yeah, it happened like a month and a half after we signed him. That's like right when the draft happens. Like literally right when the draft happens.
Yeah. So just follow up real quick. So before or after the draft?
Yeah. Like that.
Also, I'm not saying that it's easy to ask questions. Like, I think
no.
you kind of, I mean, like to have that
Yeah.
quick of a follow up and then also to kind of like press, it's like, I don't know, do you want to press that way or?
Right. And when there's a billion people in that room, like there's also a feeling of like, I don't want to monopolize this press conference. And like to have that, like to do that math in the moment is probably pretty tough. And, you know, when you're 3 questions past that question and you think of it, you don't really want to, hey, by the way, going back to Levi, you said, you know, that was a month and a half. Was that before or after?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. It's hard. And yes, I know I'm aware that I am a reporter and I'm in the room. I'm in the room. All right. I'm just in the room.
Didn't you ask a question today, though?
I did not ask
Or was
a question
that
today.
Or was that
I
yesterday?
wanted
I
to
feel
get
like
in
I
there
heard you
about-
ask a question. Yeah.
I asked one to Decker. I don't remember who.
Yeah, I can't remember. I was watching, I think it was yesterday, though, when they were doing it was during the player scrums.
Yeah. Well, I had to ask Montgomery about 2 running back sets.
Oh, yeah. So that was one that I heard, yeah.
That was I mean, I absolutely had to. First of all, because like there are rules that are tricky. Like I can't necessarily talk about specific formations, but if I ask a player about it and they talk about it, then I can talk about it.
The thing I thought that was funny, though, is like the Lions had their interviews like back to back, and him and Jameer are such drastically different people talking to the media.
I can be 2 feet away from Jahmyr Gibbs and I'm going to hear about half the things that he says. He's so quiet and he's quiet and steady as a mouse.
Like he got asked David Montgomery got asked the exact same question that Jahmyr did, and Jahmyr was doing everything. He was just as shifty and dodging those questions as he is on the football field. Those questions got asked to David Montgomery. He's like, "Oh yeah, this is how John's different."
Right.
I mean, it wasn't like super insightful, but at least he like answered it. Like,
it's interesting just how different a lot of players are and how it changes. So like Decker remains like elite in terms of talking to the press. He's pretty good today. Maybe not his best, but there just wasn't that much to talk about. I mean, I think what he said about Frank was very good. And I wrote a story about it, just like I think what was interesting about what he said about Frank was he felt it was coming, but his biggest concern was that Frank wouldn't feel comfortable in his decision. Like that he'd be second guessing himself, that he'd be kind of tormenting over it after he made the decision. And he said he went, like a couple days afterward, and like everyone was so at ease. Everyone was so like resolute with this being the right decision, and everyone was so happy for Frank, and he was in such a better place that, I mean, one that hurts to hear because like I think we all still had like a little piece of us just like maybe he changes his mind next year. But it's also good to hear that he is
enjoying life
and feels certain that he made the right life decision.
Yeah.
Hey,
it's funny, Karen.
Maybe it ends up being a blessing in disguise. You get Tate Ratledge on this track to be a center from day one. I don't know. I'm just trying to spin it positively. Also, I just have an immense amount of respect for Frank to go out on his own terms and to make the best decision for himself and his family. So
yeah. And the other thing that the deck said too, which I think needs to be reiterated to some people who might think, I don't think there are a lot of Lions fans that think this, but it is a take that's out there, is like, he gave up on this team. He gave up. Like, Deck said like he would have justifiably quit years ago with what he was dealing with.
Yeah.
He did give everything to this organization.
I don't know how anybody could say that, Miko, with a straight face after watching the Tampa Bay game. Like
I was gonna say, like,
he's a quitter.
I caught myself because I was gonna say something way more aggressive, and I was like, nope, that you can't say that to people.
and I do want to make clear, like, this is, I'm sure 99% of the people that are listening to us talk right now do not think
yes.
That. It is a very fringe argument, but 100%. It still was nice to hear Decker defend him when he didn't. No one is attacking Frank, but he is reiterating how much that dude gave to this franchise for 7 years.
I don't have enough channel points, but can I request a list cast?
Ooh.
I don't know. I got enough. I think I should have enough.
I still need the channel points, so it has to come from somewhere. If someone wants to donate them on your behalf,
I mean, it's either that or I order Thai food and I leave.
Money, please. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, Jenny Slate.
Channel points, please.
Hey, right, thank you, Dan.
What's a list cast? I'm
whoa! Now everybody's redeeming list cast. Well, technically, this is two.
This is my plan all along, so that no one ever redeems me eating mozzarella sticks.
No, wait. What's your name, Miko?
What do you mean?
Oh, did you? I thought you were.
No, I was going to, but then you said Dan did.
No, now there's 3 people.
3 list casts. Let's go.
So they're going to be 2 separate list casts. So one of them is, and this is based on what Jeremy said about like, oh man, Lions probably came out of they came out of the draft, and with the Levi news, it's like, oh wow, our 1st and 2nd round pick is really important, and they are both offensive line, defensive line. So I wanted us to list cast Brad Holmes' offensive line draft picks, and to list cast Brad Holmes' defensive line draft picks.
Oh, those are going to be 2 very different lists.
They are going to be 2 very different lists, but I think it's at least an interesting case study to look at offensive line and defensive line philosophies on a macro level to like where we
Okay.
started to where we are now with this football team.
All right. In fairness to channel points, I'm just going to redeem the first two that came in, which was Dan and Wizard. Lucky and Drew, I'm just going to refund you guys.
Okay, so if you want to write down defensive lines,
Do we have 5? There's definitely 5.
I was gonna say I just want to do all of them.
I was gonna say we're counting edge as D line, right?
Yes, but
Okay.
I'm not counting Derek Barnes as D line.
Okay.
That's fair. Yeah, I expected. That's
Okay,
cool.
so let's just put the names out there. So we have Levi and Aleem from
Yep.
the first draft class for the defensive line.
Yep.
Offensive line, we have Penei Sewell. Defensive line in the second draft is Aiden Hutchinson and Josh Pascal.
And James Houston.
He said what he said.
Hey, I'm taking in like draft position into this.
But also, he was like Derek, essentially. But anyways, whatever. That's fine. We can keep James Houston. Defensive line, Broderick Martin in the
Mhm.
next draft.
Yep.
And Colby Sorsdal for offensive line. 2024, we got Gio and Mahogany for
Yep.
offensive line. Makai Wingo for
Yep.
defensive line. And
Are we including this year?
we're not including this year's.
Okay.
We're just including
Okay.
yeah. Just including up through 2024.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 defensive linemen if we're including James Houston. Offensive lineman is 1, 2,
3, 4.
3, 4. I think 4. Panay, Colby, Gio, Mackay. I'm sorry, Christian Mahogany.
Yeah. So only 4 there.
Okay. That probably should not be very hard.
Well, yeah, the offensive line, I think I don't know if we're all going to agree on it, but
I
think we-
I'd be surprised if we weren't if we don't.
well, I think you could at least make it interesting. Well, yeah, I mean, one of them's going to start this year. So it's like what? Panay, Christian, Gio, Colby.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which, like, I don't want it to be a mean thing to say about Colby Sorsdal, but like the guy who hasn't played at all getting ranked ahead of you. It's like he's getting put there because of potential. It's like you
Yes.
haven't really even seen him play football that much.
But he's also
Well, and I
ripping
think-
ahead of him right now.
Yeah, I know. I
mean,
wanted Colby Sorsdal to work out, Miko. I really did.
I think we all did. I think that's the thing that I will say, like with any of these players, right? Especially like a lot of like Brad's, like yeah, all of Brad's draft picks. Like, there's not a single guy that you're just like, oh, I can't wait for that dude to be gone. Like when any of these guys haven't hit or like met expectation, it's like, man, that sucks. Because you've seen the others like thrive. You've seen Brad's other picks do well, and it's like you want to believe that a Colby Sorsdal is going to develop. It doesn't have to be as fast as everyone else, but you're just like, hey, if he just incrementally gets a little bit better, you know,
Mhm.
backup interior all lineman or backup right tackle is still a valuable position. And then when you're like, oh, he can't even get activated on game day, like, okay, well, this kind of sucks.
Yeah. Defensive line? Jeremy, do you have yours?
I do. You want to run
Miko?
through it?
I was gonna say, Miko, do you have yours?
Yeah.
I think I had mine too. Jeremy, you go first.
All right. We'll start bottom up. 7 is Broderick Martin. Sorry,
I know.
but he's nose tackle 3. Unless something happened to Roy Lopez, that's very bad. I don't think he's going to make the team. He's going to be the first third-round pick that doesn't make the team. This might be a little controversial. I have Josh Pascal at 6.
I think you should know. You know that I'm like very lukewarm on Josh Pascal, so like that I can sign off on that. Being
It's
a second
just-
round pick,
It's the second round pickness of it.
Okay.
And it's not necessarily anybody's fault too, because Pascal's had to go through a lot in terms of injury, in terms of cancer scares. He hasn't been a terrible player, and I think he could be a really important player this year. But like return on investment for a second round pick has not been good through 3 years. It just hasn't. James Houston is next because you got more production out of a seventh round pick. Like you just did. He might not be on the team anymore, and yeah, he worked out with Dallas this week, I heard.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
weird and fun and interesting. But like he had a streak where he was one of the better players on the team.
How excited were people for James Houston going into 2023?
I'm trying to pump the brakes a little bit on that.
I was gonna say I was definitely pumping the brakes on that one where I was like, you gotta prove it.
From there I have Mekhi Wingo, just kind of because we're in wait and see there. I got Levi at 3, Aleem at 2, Aiden at 1.
Yeah, my list isn't all that different. Obviously the big difference is like I have Pascal at 4. So mine's just Martin at 7, Houston at 6, Wingo at 5. Wingo at 5 was tough though. Cause like I think Jeremy, to your point in regards to like return on investment for Josh Pascal, like hasn't been great. And Mekhi Wingo looked like prior to him getting hurt was like really looking like he could be a viable rotation piece. Um, but I'm still like a big believer in Josh Pascal. Like not
Okay.
to the degree of like he'll ever live up to like maybe being a second round pick, but just in regards to like especially now that Levi's not like is out for the season, like I have high expectation that he can fill the Levi role. That he can be the guy that generates pressure, maybe forces a couple sacks to Marcus Davenport or Aiden Hutchinson, but it's also kind of like a make or break year for Josh Pascal in Detroit, it
100%.
feels like.
Yep. I agree with that.
Um, 3 is Levi for me. Again, maybe that's again pie in the sky type stuff, but I just feel like when like watching Levi last year was so fun.
Yeah.
Like despite that defensive line being in shambles, like I personally got a lot of just like satisfaction out of just seeing like Levi playing well and being healthy and actually impacting the game um after everything he went through. Yeah, and then two is Aleem. I still don't think I would have ever expected Aleem to be what he is now. Like hopefully he can come back, just as good as he was last year from that ACL injury. But like I thought Aleem was like knocking on the door of like one of the best D tackles in the NFC. Like he was really climbing that ladder. Um, and then yeah, and I think Hutch is just him and Sewell are just like the ultimate like slam dunk draft picks. Like it really doesn't get any better than them for what this team has like grown into.
Yeah.
Like obviously Jamar Chase would have been awesome too, but like what's a Jamar Chase if you don't have a not saying that you need a Joe Burrow, but like
Right.
if you're not
It's the
winning
whole meme.
games, like yeah, it's that whole thing. So yeah, that's
And
that's
I
my
think
one.
it's worth pointing out with both those players, they weren't easy decisions. Like there were other players that everyone, like not everyone, but like a large portion of fans were like, "Hey, go get Thibodeau.
Oh, I
Hey,
was a big Thibodeau guy. I am not even gonna run from that. I was a
go get Justin
big
Fields."
Thibodeau
Right? Like
Thibodeau guy.
there were a lot of people that didn't want the guys that the Lions drafted who turned out to be like the biggest cornerstones of the roster. And so
That
it might
that 2021 draft is like especially dicey. Like
sure.
Devonta Smith won the Heisman Trophy.
Yep.
Not saying that he
Mhm.
was like unrealistic, but like if a guy like Chase would have fell, yeah. Justin Fields, Micah Parsons was a name that a lot of people talked about. Rashawn Slater was a tackle that a lot of people talked about. So there was enough discussion where it was like Sewell Sewell almost felt like the safest pick in a way,
Yeah.
right? Where it's kind of funny though, like in 2016, like Bob Quinn did like the same thing. Like the
Mhm.
safest pick in 2016 was like Taylor Decker. Like
Right.
go with the tackle, right? Um, but that 2022 draft, I mean,
Pretty damn good.
could add a quarterback.
Could have.
Could have had a quarterback in that 2022 draft, but now he's on Green Bay and he's stuck in hell.
That that draft year is still hilarious. Just like the number of people that were like Malik at two, Malik at two, Malik at two, and then like, oh, Malik's not going for a while.
Oh, like
Sprint
Shador
Whitefield and Jet?
Sanders? Like
Well,
Shador
like
Sanders?
yeah,
Who had a
like
bigger
that's
drop off, Shador Sanders or Malik Willis? It's not even comparable.
oh, we also can't forget the whole Kyle Hamilton at two hype too, which
In hindsight,
not ridiculous. It
not
just
ridiculous.
but this fan base would have lit the city on fire.
He was still available when they took JMO, right? Like a lot of people thought that was going to be Kyle Hamilton, that pick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I was doing backflips over the JMO pick.
I was very nervous.
Only because I as much as I thought the Lions needed a receiver, I thought they were just gonna wait.
Yeah.
I just like I was like they're not gonna see it as big of a priority. They're just gonna take whatever best receiver they can pair with Amon Ra and to
Especially
like jump up and
after, yeah, I was gonna say, especially after what Brad did the year before with Amon Ra, right? Where it's like, no, 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 we can wait. Watch, we're gonna get this guy.
yeah. And so I was like, okay, that's the George Pickens draft, right? Which again,
Yeah,
hindsight being 2020. But I'd have JMO. But I remember just being like, oh, if they can get George Pickens, they'll be fine. And then he went and got JMO, and I was like, we're going places.
I don't think I had done like an ounce of research on JMO because it was just one of those things where like the Lions were picking 2 and 32. Like, why would I bother doing research on JMO? He's going to go somewhere in between there, and the Lions aren't going to even be close.
yeah, yeah. Surprise.
Should have learned that lesson back then. Didn't, because Terrion Arnold was another guy I didn't bother doing a bunch of research on because like, oh, he's not going to be available at 28 or whatever the Lions were originally picking at in that round.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
gosh.
20 the 23 draft was probably like my most prepared draft class because everyone they draft, at least those first few picks,
Right.
watched all of those guys. And I was like, love them all. But I thought all of them were second round picks except for Brian Branch. I was all in on Brian Branch at what, 6 or wherever they got. Yeah, wherever they were at the time. I was like
Yeah, I
Brian
think they
Branch
originally at
6.
6 and they dropped back to 12. That was a wild draft. In retrospect, that might be just the most chaotic good draft. Like there are a lot of obviously, this 2021 draft might go down historically amazing. 22 followed up with Hutch, Curb, JMO. But that
But
2023
like the
draft
23
was just like
was like banger after banger after like it was just like obviously
and
like
and shocking.
in high,
Like shocking
yeah.
and killed it. Shocking in that you were able to trade from 6 to 12, which I was obviously a huge fan of, but then like to go around and spend it on a running back, I'm just like, what are you doing? And then followed up with 2 positions that weren't considered high value at the time in linebacker and safety, and then tight end even after that. Or I guess tight end was before the safety. Just like spitting in the face
it was
of
one of the
positional
more
value. And then like Hendon
it was
Hooker
one of the
is
more
one that
complete.
people are still debate about. Like that was a huge waste of a
Mhm.
pick according to a lot of people.
It was
Not
a
after
very
today.
conflicting draft.
Not after today. It's suddenly all worth it because of year 3, 1 training camp practice.
Gosh, this one practice, I just hear some fingers out there probably click clacking.
And he also probably had his worst draft pick to date in that draft too with Project Martin. Like that is just a super chaotic draft in all of the best ways.
So I do got to ask the question. I don't know if you guys have talked about this before because I just saw someone say it about clearly the Lions wanted cattle snacks. Clearly the Lions wanted Devin Witherspoon.
Mhm.
Do you think if they could have gotten Witherspoon at 6, do you think Jameer was like the go-to target that they would have tried to trade up for?
Yeah.
Yeah, from 18, they would have tried to trade out for Jameer, which I don't know. I think I'd probably rather have Jameer and Devin Witherspoon than
But you
I
have
know.
to spend some draft picks, so you'd like lose maybe Branch and Hooker. I don't even remember what picks they picked up on that trade.
Or
deadline.
I don't know.
I'd be fine with missing out on Hendon Hooker. I don't think I would have survived missing out
Yeah.
on Brian Branch.
No,
Because
yeah.
they
Like,
would not have sat on their hands and just hoped that Jameer fell to him at 18, right? Like that was not
No,
going to
that's not
happen.
Brad Holmes. No
No,
way.
no.
but I think like I of those picks that you would have had to give up, like yeah, I think we all would probably agree like giving up Jack would have been like okay, fine for Devin Witherspoon,
I mean, maybe
but
better than
like
okay, fine. Like Devin Witherspoon, you have like you have CB1.
So
but like
Witherspoon and Gibbs, or Gibbs, Campbell, Laporta, and Hooker.
How do you? Yeah, I was gonna say, how do you like? What is the draft like butterfly effect? Like,
Yeah,
I need
it's
to know
hard to
the
say.
exact picks that you're giving up because it's kind of convoluted, right?
Right, it's very kind
I
of.
mean if I'm being fully transparent, right? I if the Lions could have gotten Devin Witherspoon, traded up and got Jameer Gibbs and still got Brian Branch in the second, like I would give up Sam Laporte and Jack Campbell for those three players.
Oh man, yeah, it's
I don't know if they would have been able to do
Like,
that,
could
but
you imagine a secondary of Kirby, BB, Devin Witherspoon, and you still get
and they
Jameer? Like,
and they would have had I mean, I don't know, like if you fast forward and then it's like, yeah, you have Carlton Davis and Devin Witherspoon in 2024.
yeah.
That would have been pretty good. That would have been pretty
okay.
good.
So going into the draft, they had pick 6, pick 18,
Yeah.
pick 48, and pick 55. So they had 2 firsts and 2 seconds. But to go from like 18 to 14 to get Jameer probably cost them at least one of those seconds. Maybe a 2nd and 3rd. I don't know.
But yeah, but I guess that to that point, right? It's like you're trading Campbell, Laporta, and Broderick Martin.
You're
Or
just throwing
Hendon
that in
Hooker.
because it's easy.
I don't think it really matters. Well, it looks like they got pick 96, which they used to take Broderick Martin from Arizona. So that had to have been in the
Trade down.
move back trade. Yeah.
I don't know.
And
We'll never know.
the Branch trade was a trade up, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. They traded up a few times in that draft, right? Broderick was a trade up, right? I think. No, wait.
Yeah,
Broderick was a
trade.
massive trade up. We love
Yeah.
the Broderick pick because it took a bunch of the end of the draft and they moved it into one pick.
That's right.
Yeah. That was the hey, we got our guys and we got out draft.
It also might have meant Witherspoon playing over Vildor in the 2023 NFC Championship game. Oh, God.
Oh.
Oh, God, Cattle Snacks.
See?
Why?
See the butterfly effect, guys?
Why would you do that?
This is all my fault because I wanted to do a dumb list cast.
Yeah, do you want
we
to
didn't
say
even get to yours.
Yeah, we didn't get to yours. Do you have one? Or do you want to just leave this earth now?
It's funny how like it just always comes back to the 2023 NFC Championship game. Oh man. Yeah, I mean we already did the offensive line, but for the defensive line, I think what really is eye-opening is that you have that tier, and I'd put like Aleem and Hutch like 1 and 2, like obviously.
Sure.
But like it's that tier, and then it's just like without that season that Levi had a year ago, it's like
It's a big drop.
Mhm.
It's like Tyleek has, like, if he's not 3 on this list already.
right. Like if by the end of training camp you're not like, oh yeah, Tyleek Williams is number 3. You're like,
Yeah.
ooh.
This has been a little bit. I mean, and people have like pointed this out here and there that it hasn't been Brad Holmes's best position of drafting. Ironically, the position he played.
And then also like when everybody was touting the hire, it's like, well, this is the guy who's the driving force behind Aaron Donald.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But I think that is kind of eye-opening. And then like I mean, yeah, Panay's an absolute grand slam. And it's like, what other offensive lineman have you drafted that you're like, oh yeah, this guy's. You at least have like Hutch and McNeil, and then like after Panay, it's like, well,
Careful.
Christian Mahogany was really good for 2 games.
If Eric's in this chat, he's going to start coming at you about Christian Mahogany.
I was gonna say, I think Christian Mahogany is the one that you're like looking at, where you're like, hey, if he, because like,
but now it's Tate. So like that's the funny thing about this like breakdown. Sure. It's like it's both sides of the ball. Like these guys like need to immediately like
be a top 3 guy,
be up in the list.
Yeah,
yeah. I think the thing though that's interesting about Christian Mahogany is like, or again, talk about butterfly effect. Like, how different is that conversation if like the Lions don't get a Kevin Zeitler last year? Like, is Christian Mahogany is he your starting left guard last year?
Yeah,
because like,
I wouldn't say so out of the gate though, because he had mono.
No,
right? You know what I mean?
Not out of the gate, sure, but like, I think that's an interesting question to wonder.
Yeah.
Also, let's be very clear too. Like, I'm not a Christian Mahogany hater, and if there's anybody on this podcast who like was pumping the brakes on Christian Mahogany, he's wearing a blue Lions hat right now. So,
listen, you got to show me for more than 2 games. In some cases, if you're a kicker, you have to show me more than a full season.
More than a year and a half.
Right. No. You have to have a perfect training camp to make Jeremy a believer in you as a kicker.
Well, he already messed up.
No, not true. He's 2 for 2 on kickoffs.
No, he had 2 more kickoffs than that.
We should probably ban an honest mess, because I went back in the chat, and that little butterfly effect. They also
Gibbs
might have won the Super Bowl if Gibbs didn't fumble.
Don't draft running backs. Gibbs's fumble is very much forgotten amongst the comedy of errors in that game.
I was just going to say, hey, somebody redeem a listcast, and we'll listcast the reasons why the Detroit Lions lost the NFC Championship.
You will get refunded the quickest I've ever refunded anybody for anything.
No, I just think like because there was a whole other half of football though, like, and you were still up. Like I don't.
But
wait,
like
it sucked. Are you talking about the Gibbs fumble?
Yeah.
Wasn't that in the first half?
No, it was in the second half.
But it was still relatively.
I thought it was
early,
like into the first half.
No, it was definitely in the second half, because it was. Guys, go back and watch the second half.
No,
I'm not going back and watching it, but I will go back and look at the breakdown of the plays.
I'm just saying, like, there is a sequence in that second half where like you were probably having an out of body experience, but like it was just one bad thing after another after another.
It's why I think anybody who says last year to Washington was worse was just a prisoner of the moment.
100%.
Like that second half of that game is the thing of nightmares. That is something that will stick with you forever. I'm not sure the Washington loss will.
No, I've already forgot about the Washington loss. Like it doesn't bring about like a visceral reaction where like I feel myself getting like just razzled. Like I feel myself falling apart.
I don't think I've still watched that game a second time.
No, I mean like, highest of highs. Met not like gradually like lowest of lows, but like precipitous fall. Yeah. Like you've never been happier to be a Lions fan to immediately like, oh my, it's happening. Like it's happening, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. You can't reach through the TV. You can't do anything.
Mm-mm. The thing that like I don't know why I felt it in the moment too. Like the thing I will remember most about that night is sitting in and waiting for Dan Campbell to appear in the press conference room, and just like the only thing you can hear is like the dull buzzing of these fluorescent lights above, and it's just
Oh,
like it's like in those war movies when a bomb goes off and like everything goes silent. Like that's how I was feeling, just like 1,000-yard stare into a wall, buzzing of fluorescent lights. Where am I and what's happening?
the
Yeah, I think
Washington
the trauma
game.
of it.
Yeah, I was just
I
gonna
was gonna say, I
say
think the
real
trauma
quick.
of the,
Yeah,
oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say real quick that the Washington game, it never really felt like the Lions had a firm grasp on that game.
They were winning early, but it didn't. It never felt safe.
It never felt safe
Yeah.
at any moment.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I think even going into that game, like again, you were confident probably, but you were just like,
Double
this is the
digit
kind of
favorites.
offense. Yeah, like, but this is like one of those offenses that could really like take it away from you. But no, that Niners game, I think it was so traumatic. I don't even remember how I felt after. Like I genuinely like I remember every sequence of events that happened in the game. I don't remember what the hell I did after the game actually went off.
I remember what I was doing. I was outside. I like built a fire and I was just staring at the fire.
Debating whether or not to jump in.
Amik was the one who got injured on the second play against Washington, right? To answer Quirky's
Yeah.
question.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
was a meat.
And I think that might have been like maybe that's another reason why it just never really felt real. Because like once another injury pops up, you're just like, oh, it's this has got to be this is things have to catch up to them at this point.
Yeah. It for I there's part of me that thinks that the 2023 team was better than the 2024 team. And I know that sounds weird, but like I think that their playoff roster was better in
Sure.
2023
They were
than their
playing better football at the end of the season, and I think maybe you could say that for
Yeah,
the
okay.
2024 year.
yeah. Yeah. So like I think at that spot like that matters. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it matter
So?
it matters
Yeah.
where like who you're going into the game with. Still thought the Lions were better than the Commanders, but I don't know. It wasn't shocking, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like with the
Mhm.
with the NFC Championship game, it was shocking that like you saw what happened in the first
Right.
half, and then it was equally as shocking in the opposite direction what happened in the second
Right.
half.
The only cushion for that entire thing was just they weren't ready anyways. Like it was too early for them. No one expected them to get as far as they were. But try
Yeah, I
telling
think
that to you 5 minutes after it hit zero.
I think if that
It's-
game had been more of like a back and forth fight, like I think it probably
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
hurt as much.
100%, because 49ers were a pretty significant favorite in that game. You're away against a team that has been to the Super Bowl recently.
There was that 49ers account that would keep on tweeting out like how disrespected and how big of underdogs they are like every week and how they're overlooked. And I remember just being like, this is bait. I understand, but like there are probably people who feel this way. It's like you've been favored in every single game. And it was just going to be extra sweet because who did the 49ers beat the week prior to that?
Packers.
Vikings? No, Packers, yeah.
The Jordan Love Brett Favre interception.
That's right. Well, my question
did we
is,
get here?
It's a very good question. I mean, we're Lions fans. We wallow in the depression. It's impossible to tell the future, but it seems like it's hard to top that in terms of just like depressing loss. I know a loss in the Super Bowl is 100% on the table of making that feel worse. Maybe not the 1st Super Bowl.
It
but
depends
like,
on how
don't
it
you put that-
happens.
don't you
It
put that
all
evil
depends
on
on
me,
how it
Ricky Bobby.
happens.
Don't you put that evil on me,
But
Ricky Bobby.
can we all agree that like there isn't another game in the history that comes close?
No, like not for me.
Like Hail Mary, maybe. Calvin Johnson rule was one that really hurt me in the moment.
Yeah, the Cowboys game really hurt me in the moment.
I was gonna say, I think, but even that was like more anger than like hurt.
I think we all had somebody to blame other than
Yeah,
the Lions to some
and that,
extent.
yeah,
That
but like,
NFC Championship game was just like, oh no, it's all our undoing.
Everything
well,
is
like
our
I
fault.
was gonna say, everything about that NFC Championship game felt like the universe against us, and I think that's what makes it also hurt more because it's like this is not just like this. There's no way this is just happenstance. This is no way that this team all of a sudden can't play football anymore.
This is kind of very
And
dark.
the ball bouncing off the face mask, come on, like that in
Right?
itself.
It just became the face of that game.
Yeah,
And screw
KJ,
George Kittle forever.
uh, there are definitely games where I've been like more angry,
Sure.
and like that Bengals game comes to mind. Like that was the most frustrated I think I've ever
Caldwell's
been.
last game? Or
Yeah,
last-ish game.
yeah. I mean, it was like the nail in the coffin, right?
Yeah.
And then he had that really fun ending to the season against the Packers where they won that meaningless game because they were eliminated from the playoffs.
Dumb.
Yeah, but I'd be hard pressed to, unless like the Lions lost. I can't even. I'm not gonna put it out either. But like, right?
Someone's gonna
Like,
bring that back up. Someone will bring that back up and blame me.
Clipped, shipped, and just gonna hurt you.
cattle snacks, don't do this. Now you're getting into like other sports, and yes, not defending the inbounder.
No,
It's the hardest thing for me to think about when it comes to being a big Rasheed Wallace stan. But there's plenty of Detroit sports pain to go around.
I need people, when Cattle Snack says anything in the chat, I just need everyone to just type something and hit enter so it scrolls to the top and I don't see it.
Oh, no, not baseball. Yeah.
Oh,
Thank
that,
you, LJ.
or,
What are we
that
doing?
homer by. Oh man.
Nope. We're done. We're done here. I think it's time to get out of here. I think that's what's happening right now.
Oh, I didn't.
I
even
thought we
get
were
to
gonna leave
my
on a high
list.
note. I thought we were gonna leave out on a high note of like doing the list cast. Everyone's gonna be feeling good about the D line or something, and like now I'm just sad. Now I just want to go eat my feelings.
I think I made us all feel worst because of the list cast.
That's why I asked earlier. Like, I don't know how we got here. We were supposed to be talking about O line, D line. Why are we back down this terrible road?
I honestly don't remember how we got here. Like, I know you wanted to list cast. You were thinking about list casting all of the bad moments in that game, but how did we get there? Oh, Gibbs. That's how. Alternate timelines in which the Lions don't draft Gibbs.
An
so
honest mess.
So it is still Ryan's fault.
It was an
No.
honest mess back.
Honest mess who has been an honest mess in chat all evening long. True to
You're
their name.
scapegoating. You're scapegoating like he's the
Name the linebacker, Anthony Hitchens.
Anthony Hitchens.
Oh,
All right, DV. Honest mess. One is claiming he didn't start it. The second is saying DVOA has the Lions with the third best Super Bowl odds and best in the NFC. So that means what? So like, who are the two? Ooh, this is interesting. Who are the two AFC teams that, according to DVOA, has better odds to win the Super Bowl?
the Bills and the Ravens.
I was gonna say Chiefs and Ravens.
They do like the Ravens a lot. I don't know if it's going to be the Bills or the Chiefs.
I think it's going to be the Bills. DVOA. Aaron
Ravens.
Shat.
There you go.
Aaron,
Bills and Ravens.
That's Aaron Shat's
All right.
metric, right?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of weight do you think he puts on yards per reception?
You're never going to let him live that down. And in a way that he's never going to know.
Never.
Like, and I think I might be the only person on earth who even gets what you're referencing.
That's okay. I do a podcast with you, so that's why.
I'm going to mention it right now. We're gonna call him out. No, but we had Aaron Schatz on for our 2024 preview, right?
Yeah.
He was
No,
promoting
2023 preview.
Was it? No, I thought it was last year.
I think you're right. You
Yeah.
are right. Yeah. Yep.
He's promoting the DVOA almanac that has like a really good, thorough deep dive.
Like need
And
to get it. Like if you're an NFL fan, like
yes,
it's an awesome way to prep yourself on like all 32 teams.
right. And we were kind of talking to him about JMO, because like the wide span of things that could happen with JMO in 2024 was just like endless, and it was fascinating. And there were people debating, like fantasy owners, like someone who has accomplished so little in 2 years in the NFL has very, very, very rarely accomplished anything great beyond that at the receiver position. And so I didn't like. I guess I don't remember the specifics of it, but you were talking about yards per catch in particular because his number in 2023 was ridiculous. And what were you suggesting? Like, could he potentially keep up that rate at a higher clip?
Yeah. So my thing was basically framing like because we were talking about how good the Lions offense was in 2023 and
Yeah.
like how it could be that good, if not better, in 2024. And I was like, what if you had a receiver who was a 17 yards per catch kind of guy in JMO?
Caught 60 passes.
Yeah.
And
describing what JMO did in 2024.
Right. And he kind of scoffed at it as like, well, that doesn't happen very often.
Well, he like outright was like, receivers in the NFL don't average 17 yards a catch.
Right. And lo and behold, that is almost exactly what happened with JMO.
And what happened to the Lions offense in DVOA last year?
What was that, a PODD thing, or was that?
It was. So that's why it's even more niche.
Yeah. Right.
Oh. I'm surprised you didn't like tag him on Twitter and just like clip that and being like, hey.
If you have been a PODD subscriber for probably, I mean, we probably interviewed him right around this time last year.
It literally was. I remember it was the day I came back from my like biking trip. So like it was like almost like 2 weeks to the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go dig that one up and don't like clip it and tag him. We don't.
Yeah, no, don't do that.
We actually like Aaron a lot.
Yeah.
And we would gladly have him on again if he was interested in, and I don't know if Ryan would bring it up or not, but
casually.
In a way that he wouldn't notice.
But yeah, that's the thing. Like, even if you were to mention to him, I'm sure he'd be like, I don't remember saying that.
100%. He doesn't remember this conversation at all, but I do very well. Also, I'm like a master at bringing things up subtly. That like.
Oh, so you're admitting it now?
I don't think it counts. If other people didn't catch it, it doesn't count. I don't.
Nico, I think you're saying this exactly as it is. Exactly as it is. Okay.
All right. Are we getting out of here?
Thai food. I'm gonna get Thai food tonight, guys.
That sounds amazing.
That does sound good.
Yeah, I'm gonna get Thai food. I'm gonna go look at 2024 wide receivers, yards per reception.
I don't think I have anything to announce other than subscribe to PODD. We're gonna have another video for you guys. We've already had 2. We'll have a 3rd one tomorrow. I'll probably have an article for PODD on Wednesday, so since it'll be the day between practices, I'll probably do some sort of like, here are my observations from 3 days or standouts or something like that.
I was gonna say that's what Morgan and I are gonna do tomorrow for YouTube people. So
yeah, there you go. Okay. I think it's time to get out of here. Thanks for hanging out tonight. Looks like the stream did mostly fine without any hiccups, I think.
Wow, shocker. I think you talked it out of existence.
That's right. My volume had some issues apparently, but anyways. We'll be back midweek mailbag probably on Wednesday as well. Probably, maybe. I think.
I don't know. I don't do that show.
And then PODD will be Pride of Detroit. I'm sorry. Midweek mailbag will be Pride of Detroit Direct exclusive the following week.
And also, we talked about next week. We're probably going to do this on Tuesday.
True. That's a good
oh yeah
show note.
And because we'll be buttoned right up against the Hall of Fame game.
True. And then we have to decide when we want to do a post Hall of Fame game podcast.
Depends on how well Jake Bates does.
You mean
Might
how
be
well
might be
Hendon
that
Hooker does.
night.
I'm honestly going to be more focused on his kickoffs than I am his field goals. Because I'm just
should be.
I'm so confident in him as a field goal kicker.
There you go. Oh, man. You do it so well.
All right, y'all. We'll see you probably Wednesday here or over on Pride of Detroit Direct. Have a good night.